Hello, everybody. Charlie here with JC3 Cards and Collectibles with my buddy Stu. We are here today for a special treat. Every once in a while, when I'm not picking up cards at a card show, I have an opportunity to check out a private sale as well. And recently, after the Green Bay Card Show at the distillery, I had another stop to make, and I had a private sale that I checked out. And I did not come home empty-handed. This time I picked up a few items, probably for less than the cost of a good night out. And one of the things I brought home is this big old box of vintage cards. This is a 630 card set that we are going to explore together today. So we will be back right after this, and we are going to go through this full set together. Thanks for being here. Welcome back, folks. Thanks again for joining us today here at JC3 Cards and Collectibles. A fun day planned going through a vintage set of cards that I recently picked up at a private sale. Occasionally, I will entertain a private sale if it's somebody I know, somebody I trust. But still, the challenge with private sales is you don't know if something is picked through or not. So I always go into it with an abundance of caution. I never go in offering big money. I'm kind of a pessimist. I'm going to go in assuming that it's picked through and a lot of the value's already gone. Now, the advantage of doing a private sale with someone you at least have an acquaintance with or can see again on a regular basis if you need to, is what I like to say is, look, here's what I'll offer you today. If I go through it and I find that there's more value in here than I thought, then I will go back to you and I'll give you some more money, okay? But that's only something that would work if it's someone you know. You know, if you were buying cards from a stranger, you're not going to be able to make a type of commitment like that. So I had at least that little bit of an advantage with this sale because it was somebody I knew, somebody that, you know, I will see again in the near future. So that's the way I went into this. I made an offer. And I said, hey, if I'm way off, if I get this home and I start researching it and I see what's in there and I find out, gosh, I had 200% more value here than I anticipated, I'm going to kick back a little more on the sale for you. And people appreciate that. But again, if I was buying this from Joe Blow off of some Facebook marketplace sale, I wouldn't have that luxury. And then I would probably stick to just, hey, I'm assuming this is picked through, so here's what I can offer you, and that's going to be it. And maybe I'm surprised and I get a lot of extra value out of that. Maybe I'm dead on and I get home and all the best cards are picked out. You never know. And I don't know that it's realistic to ask a seller to say, hey, do you mind if I sit here for a half an hour and go through every single card in here and see if they're all here and what the values are? That's not realistic either. That's like somebody at a card show trying to comp every single card that they're selling or buying. That's just not conducive. It's not a good environment for that. So you got to go with your gut sometimes, and that's what I did. So you're probably wondering, what did I buy? Well, I bought a set of 1976 SSPC baseball cards. It's something I really had no experience with before. I wasn't familiar with the set. I don't think I've ever seen a card even unintentionally in the past. But that's kind of what caught my eye, right? I opened it up and I was like, well, this isn't Topps. And Topps dominated the marketplace through the 70s yet. It was 1980 before Fleer challenged them. But the 70s was all Topps baseball. So I did check that out and say, boy, that's a set that I might be able to find some value in if I can get that at the right price. So let's talk a little bit about the 1976 SSPC. So what is SSPC? Well, that stands for Sports Stars Publishing Company. This was a set that was born in 1975, actually. And advertising for it started in 1975. The printing was in 1975. The copyright on the cards is 1975. Um, but the release really wasn't until 1976, and it is classified as a 1976 set. Now, you will find some of the promo sets. There's like an 18 card set and a 42 card set that are like promos. In fact, the very first one was an 18 card set in a magazine, a tear out magazine, much like SI for Kids today, where you could tear those out. And that was the start of it. That was in 1975. So you will see that 18 card set as a 1975 set. But it started in 1975, as I said, when Topps was the only supplier. And it started with a gentleman named Mike Ehrenstein. He was a collector, and he was an ardent collector. He wanted pure cards. He didn't want what he called all the gingerbread on the Topps cards, all these flashy extra things. He just wanted a nice pure image, simple back to talk about the players. And he really admired the 1953 Bowman set, and he used that as a model. So as we look at these today, you are going to see the front image is all player with just a slight border around it. And the back is just no frills, straight to what this player did and what they do now. Collectors even call this the pure card set because it is so clean and doesn't have all those extra frills on it. So SSPC started from a company called TCMA, and that was Mike along with Tom Collier. And they first published a magazine called Collectors Quarterly, or CQ, if you are familiar with it. And that CQ magazine introduced this 1976 SSPC set. You had the 18 card promo set, and then you had an opportunity to mail in for the complete set. Now, a little bit of trivia on this that I found really interesting. If you grew up watching ESPN and you are of my age, if you're younger, you probably don't know this because I believe he's gone on the different things. But there was an ESPN anchor that was very popular. Nice baritone voice, kind of deadpan delivery. His name is Keith Olbermann. And the reason we're talking about Keith Olbermann is because Keith Olbermann was the editor of Collectors Quarterly, and he was also responsible for the copy on the back of all 630 of the cards we're going to look at today. So a little bit of a connection to fame there with Keith Olbermann, who I believe today is he's got a talk show on, or a news show or something on like CNN or something like that. I don't think he's on ESPN anymore. I could be wrong. I don't watch a lot of ESPN Sports Center anymore. But back in the day, he was a Sports Center anchor, and a darn good one at that. So we talked about the 18 card preview set that was in the magazine. It was this mail order for the complete set was originally offered for the low price of $9.99 plus $1 shipping and handling. So for $10.99 in 1975, you could mail in this card and in return get your complete set of 1976 SSPC baseball cards. So 630 cards for $10.99. That's not a bad deal. If you think about adjusting for inflation today, I think a complete set of Topps flagship at the end of the year is like $50. So not a bad price on these. So what happened to this set? Why don't we see it very much anymore? Well, first of all, the original print run was about 10,000 sets. Quite a few, but not necessarily excessive. There are some rumblings of an unauthorized second printing off of the negatives at some point. Um, I was unable to determine how many copies they think are in that second run, but they're totally indistinguishable between the original print run and that second print run. And it's believed that they're all mixed together these days. So people that have looked at them a lot closer than I have said they can't tell the difference. So I don't imagine I will be able to tell the difference either. So this went for 1 year, and you might be saying, why just 1 year? That makes more sense why you don't see a lot of it, right? Well, we talked about Topps dominating the market in the 70s. And Mike Ehrenstein, was a little bit of a maverick. He wanted to challenge the establishment in the card market because he wanted his own type of card. And he and his partner, Tom, had also put out some like minor league cards before, and I think some team sets or something, but all much smaller scale. He wanted to go after the big leagues, and he wanted to do a full set in the way he wanted it to look. So he did that, but before any of these hit store shelves, Topps sued SSPC. They sued them, and they reached a settlement agreement whereby Ehrenstein agreed to dispose of the inventory on hand. Did all of that get disposed of? I'm not sure. And he was also barred from selling any further sets. So if you were one of the lucky ones that filled in your mail order form and sent your money in and you were granted your set, you got it. But he was unable to sell any more after the judgment. And then a warehouse full of inventory was supposed to be disposed of. But there were quite a few sets out there already from those early mail-in order sets. So if you see one today, they are pretty interesting. I would encourage you to take a close look at it. I like the novelty of this Renegade set in the 70s. They are a very clean, pure card, like other collectors say. And we're going to go through them today. You're going to get a chance to see them firsthand and make your own judgment. There's some fun photography in it because these were done by freelance photographers, and all of them were taken in front of one of the New York stadiums. So either, I think at that time, was it Shea and Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium. So teams would come into town for a series, and SSPC would set up this photographer to go out and meet the players and take some of these photos. They didn't bother with any release forms with the players. So some of these have kind of outtake photos, players making funny faces, some hats. There's a golf cart in one of them, from what I understand. So it's kind of a fun set in that respect as well. If you're wondering about the value today, I did a quick search of sold items on eBay, and I saw, in fact, just in the last week, one of these full sets sold for $130, including shipping. So $130 shipped for a complete set of 1976 SSPC cards. So that's a little history of the cards. Now let's talk a little bit about 1975, which was the season these cards represent. They came out in 76, but they represent images and the events of 1975. So let's talk about some of the players of note in 1975. Rookies in 1975 include Gary Carter, Dennis Eckersley, Doug DeSenses, Phil Garner, who managed my Milwaukee Brewers at one time, Keith Hernandez, also a star occasionally on the hit show Seinfeld, Art Howe, Sixto Lezcano. I include Sixto Lezcano in this conversation because, funny story, my big brother Brian in Milwaukee in the early 80s, late 70s, was a paper boy for Sixto Lezcano. He delivered his paper every day. My brother likes to tell me that to this very day, how he knew Sixto Lezcano and delivered his paper to him every day. Also, rookies, Fred Lynn, and a big name here for the Boston Red Sox, Jim Rice. Jim Rice was a rookie. So flip side, who retired after the 1975 season? Well, some of the big names that retired were Bob Gibson, Gibby, Harmon Killebrew, and Juan Marichal. Those are probably the three biggest names that retired after the 1975 season. So 75 represented their last Major League Baseball season. What were some of the awards and winners in 1975? Well, the World Series was the Reds versus the Boston Red Sox, and the Big Red Machine came out on top. The Cincinnati Reds won the 1975 World Series. So we'll watch for World Series winners in this set. Some of the season-ending awards that went out. Rod Carew won the batting title with a .359 average. Mike Schmidt won the home run title with 38 home runs. Davey Lopes, another former Milwaukee Brewers manager, he had the stolen base crown with 77 stolen bases. On the pitching side, Jim Palmer led the league with a 2.09 ERA. Jim Palmer and Catfish Hunter, Jim Catfish Hunter, tied the league in wins with 23 each. Rich Goose Gossage was the saves leader on the season with 26. Frank Tanana led the league in strikeouts with 269. And then Jim Palmer also led the league in shutouts on the season with 10. Okay. World Series MVP, Mr. Pete Rose. The player of the year in 1975 was Joe Morgan. A lot of you, if you're younger, you probably know Joe Morgan as an announcer for Sunday Night Baseball. All-Star MVPs were Bill Madlock and John Matlock. Speaking of All-Stars, the 1975 All-Star Game was held at County Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a place I knew well, visited a lot as a child. There used to be some bluffs out above County Stadium that looked down through the center field gap and the bleachers and stuff. And I used to ride, I used to ride down the railroad tracks from where I lived in West Dallas down to County Stadium, up the hill by the Veterans Hospital. And there was a little dirt track up there with some jumps and stuff. So I'd ride my bike around on that little dirt track, and then I would stop and I'd watch a little bit of the baseball game through the center field gaps from up on top of this bluff. And always good memories to think about that. So 75 All-Star Game at County Stadium. Some of the All-Stars that year, I got quite a list here. Pete Rose, Lou Brock, Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, Steve Garvey, Jim Wynn, Ron Say, Dave Concepcion, Jerry Riss, Manny Sanguian, Tony Perez, Bob Watson, Dave Cash, Bill Madlock, Larry Boa, Greg Luzinski, Al Oliver, Gary Carter, Bobby Mercer, Reggie Smith, Randy Jones, Mike Marshall, John Matlock, Tug McGraw, Andy Messersmith, Phil Necro, Tom Seaver, Don Sutton, Bobby Bonds, Rod Carew, Thurman Munson, Reggie Jackson, Joe Rudy, Greg Nettles, Gene Tennants, Bert Campaneris, Vita Blue, Bill Freehand, George Boomer Scott, Carl Yastrzemski, Jorge Orta, Dave Chalk, Bucky Dent, Toby Hara, Hank Aaron, Mike Hargrove, Hal McRae, Claudel Washington, George Hendrick, Fred Lynn, Steve Busby, Raleigh Fingers, one of my personal faves, Goose Gossage, Catfish Hunter, Jim Cat, Jim Palmer, and the Ryan Express himself, Nolan Ryan. So quite a nice list of All-Stars that year. There are also 50 Hall of Famers in the 1975 set. Hall of Famers today. In fact, here's a copy of the checklist. It's a 3-page checklist, or really 2 1/4. But you can see I highlighted all the Hall of Famers in here. And we will see if we have all of these Hall of Famers in this set. So, without further ado, we're going to jump into looking at some of these cards. And I'll probably try to take 100 at a time. So we will switch over to the card cam here in just a second. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to start thumbing through these cards. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for being with us today. We are ready to dive into the cards, right, Stu? All right, so we are going to switch over to our card cam and start going through each and every one of these cards. So up first, I want to show you one of the backs to get started with. So we talked about this being the pure set. And that there's really no frills, or gingerbread as the creator referred to it. So you can see the back on this one. I did pull each one out, put them all in sleeves. I want to handle these as little as possible with my fingers. So when I got them home, I just put them all in sleeves right away. So I'm going to show them in sleeves today. Hopefully we don't have any glare issues. Hopefully I got it centered up good enough for you. But here you see just a pretty plain background here. This one is Lee William Buzz Capra, and that is the theme through this. First, middle, and last name, along with any nicknames in parentheses there. So you've got the bio information: pitcher, 5'11", 170, born 10/1/47, bats right, throws right. Number 47 for the Atlanta Braves. Buzz's 1975 season was limited to only 12 games due to injuries. He was 4-7 for the Braves and pitched to a 4.27 ERA. 75 was his second campaign with Atlanta, his first with a remarkable success. Purchased from the Mets during spring training, he went on to win the NL's ERA crown with a fine 2.28 ERA and a 16.8 record. 16.8. Well, Mr. Olbermann, I think you meant a dash there. A 16-8 record with 137 strikeouts in 39 ball games. He signed with the Mets in 1969 and advanced to the big club in 71 after leading the IL Independent League. Had another brief stint with Atlanta in 72 before with a 2.19 ERA. He spent part of the 72 season with New York and spent the full season with the Mets in 73, but got into only 24 games leading to his sale. Has a 25-25 career mark. And then you can see down here in the bottom left, card number 1, SSPC 1975. So again, trademark is 1975. That was the time of the printing, but they were not released until 1976. So you will typically find these listed as 1976 SSPC Baseball. All right, let's take a look at the player image then. That's the real meat and potatoes here, right? So you see the old school Braves uni, the cursive A and the helmet. Good show there, Buzz. All right. So now that you've seen both the front and the back and you have an idea of the design, you can see this one's a little bit off center, unfortunately, but just a pretty standard border around it, player image, and nothing else. And this one's interesting. It was inside the stadium. Some of these are actually outside the stadium too, I believe. But again, freelance photographer, everything taken in one of the New York stadiums whenever a team was in town. So in this case, Atlanta Braves must have been in town for a series, so they got all the Braves players they could. All right, up next, card number 2, Tom House. Tom House Atlanta Braves. Look at those shades. Actually received recently, oh, I guess last year it was, I ripped a box of cards. It might have been Archives maybe, and I got a Tom House buyback card. So that was kind of interesting. Up next, we've got card number 3, Maximino Leon. Maximino Leon. Then we've got card 4, Carl Morton. Carl Morton. And I like that they built these sets with all players together with their team. They don't mix them around at all. This next one is a Hall of Famer. Mr. Phil Niekro, Hall of Fame pitcher, card number 5 in this set. So we did get our first Hall of Famer, our first card we were looking for in this set. You will recall that he also was an all-star in the 75 season. So good show there, Mr. Niekro. All right, card number 6. We've got another pitcher, Mike Thompson of the Atlanta Braves. Card number 7, Elias Sosa. Now, this one's interesting. If I look at the back, Elias Sosa Martinez. So most Latin American players, I believe, their naming convention is different. I believe a combination of both the mother and the father's last names. So the Martinez, I believe, is in recognition of the dual surname there, Elias Sosa Martinez. Came to the Braves from St. Louis in a trade. All right. We're not done with the Atlanta Braves yet. Next up, we have card number 8, infielder, Larvel Blanks. Again, we've got some, looks like the centering is just slightly to the left as the norm of all of these Braves we pulled up so far. But other than that, corners are pristine. The colors are great. There's no stains. There's no creases. Really excellent condition on these cards. All right. Card number 9, third baseman, Darrell Evans. This one's just centered a little bit better, but still slightly left. Card number 10, Rodney Gilbreth. Rodney Gilbreth. All right. Card number 11, outfielder, first baseman, Michael Kenwylum. Maybe one of the original Flying Hawaiians. I was a huge Shane Victorino fan years ago, who they called the Flying Hawaiian. This is another Major League Baseball player with Hawaiian heritage. Moving on to card number 12, shortstop, Craig Robinson. Card number 13, first baseman and catcher, Earl Williams Jr. Card number 14, Victor Carrell, catcher Victor Carrell. Card number 15. Now, this is one of my favorites in this set. Looking at the back of it real quick. This is a catcher for the Atlanta Braves. Card number 15, Biff Pocoroba. I love players with fun names like Biff. I wonder what his birth name is. I'm pretty sure he wasn't born and his mother said, "Look at our baby boy Biff." I'm sure that's a nickname he acquired over the years. Let's take a look at the front image. Okay. Really good condition. Still a little off center to the left. But nice standard portrait image there. We're still in the Braves. We are not done yet. Card number 16 is a player you probably recognize. This is an outfielder for the Atlanta Braves in the 75 season. I believe came to the Braves in a trade with the Dodgers. This is Dusty Baker, longtime Major League manager in the last couple decades. Giants, Houston, I believe. Dusty Baker was a great player in the major leagues. Went on to be an even better manager, I believe. But early card of Dusty Baker, very nice there. Still with the Braves, card number 17, outfielder Ralph Garr. Card number 18, Atlanta Braves outfielder Cito Gaston. I do recall Cito Gaston. So I was born in 1974. The year this season was played, I didn't even know what baseball was yet. But starting in late 70s, I would say 79, 80, I started to understand what baseball was. And by the time the Brewers went to the World Series in 82, I was hooked. But I remember Cito Gaston in his day. All right, still with the Braves. Card number 19, Atlanta Braves outfielder David May. Card number 20, Atlanta Braves number 22, outfielder Rolland Office. Another day at the office, Rolland. Card number 21 for the Atlanta Braves. Number 13, first baseman, outfielder Robert Beal. And that takes us through the base Atlanta Braves in this set. So, how did we do on the Braves? Just looking through there. Did we have a number 14, Vic Carell? I'm not sure. I remember seeing Vic Carell. We did get the Bob Beal, Roland Office, Dave May, Cito Gaston, Dusty Baker we saw, Biff we saw, Vic Carell, Mike Lum. Did we see a Mike Lum? But we did get our one Hall of Famer so far in Phil Niekro. So that was good to see. Let's see, we got Thompson, Sosa, Blanks, Evans, Gilbreth, Lum, Ken Y. Lum. Yep, we got our Lum. We got Robinson, Williams, Vic Carell. Yep, we got all of our Atlanta Braves. So far through 21 cards, we have everything there in the set. So that's a good start. Now we're going to move on to the Cincinnati Reds, and we're going to start things off with another Hall of Famer. 2 for 2 on Hall of Famers. This is Sparky Anderson. He was already a manager as of the 1975 season, a manager for the Cincinnati Reds. So now we're into the Big Red Machine. You will recall Cincinnati Reds won the 1975 World Series. So should be a few good players in this list of Cincinnati Reds. Let's see if they all come through for us. Card number 23, Cincinnati Reds. Number 43, pitcher John Billingham. Card number 24, Cincinnati Reds. Number 34, relief pitcher Pedro Borbon. Card number 25. Oh, this is interesting. You'll notice on the back side here, it says Chicago White Sox. Relief pitcher Clay Carroll. After 641 games in the NL with the Braves and Reds, Clay finds himself in the AL with the White Sox in 76. All right, so it looks like he was a late season trade. So the image taken was in his Cincinnati Reds jersey, but they did have time to update the card back to show him with the Chicago Red Sox. So Clay Carroll. Card number 26, pitcher Patrick Darcy. Card number 27, pitcher Don Guillet. Nice warm-up jacket there. I missed the warm-up jackets. Card number 28, Clayton Kirby. Now another late season trade to the Montreal Expos. So as of 76, he was with the Montreal Expos. Yes, the Expos were still in Montreal. All right, let's see. Up next, card number 29, pitcher Gary Nolan. Card number 30, pitcher Cincinnati Reds, number 32, Freddie Norman. All right, where are we at next? So that was 30. Number 31. What do we got here? We are looking for Johnny Bench, and our next card is not Johnny Bench. Not Johnny Bench. It looks like Johnny Bench has been pilfered from this set. We're going to have to move on without him. But we do have Reds catcher number 9, William Plummer. Almost Johnny Bench. It is a catcher, and it is for the Reds. Oh, well. We knew that something was most likely going to be missing. The first one missing is Johnny Bench. All right, moving on. Card number 33, Atlanta Braves infielder Darrell Cheney, another late season trade from the Reds to the Braves after the image was taken. All right, up next, card number 34, Cincinnati Reds shortstop David Ismael Concepcion. And I believe he was an all-star this year. Sure enough, he was one of the 1975 all-stars. So good season from Dave Concepcion. All right, who are we looking for next? Card number 35, Cincinnati Reds outfielder, first baseman, number 17, Terrence Crawley. Card number 36, infielder, outfielder, Cincinnati Reds, number 22, Daniel Dreesen. Card number 37, Cincinnati Reds infielder, number 23, Robert Flynn Jr. We continue to see just slightly off center to the left, but all other aspects of the cards seem to be immaculate. Pretty good condition here. These cards must have been put in this box years ago and have been there ever since. Doesn't look like they were moved in and out a whole lot. So really good condition, and with vintage, condition is everything. All right, so let's see. Card number 38 would be next, Joe Morgan. And we do not have Joe Morgan. We have card number 39, Tony Perez. A great player in his own right. Antanasio Regal, Tony Perez, first baseman for the Big Red Machine. There you can see Tony Perez. Nice image of him. Also spent some time on Sunday Night Baseball, I believe. But unfortunately, Joe Morgan is missing. So that is Johnny Bench and Joe Morgan missing from the Big Red Machine. However, Tony Perez here, just to reiterate, he is also a Hall of Famer. So we got a win with another Hall of Famer, Tony Perez. Also a player that has modern relevance with his color commentary on Sunday Night Baseball. So Tony Perez offsets the loss of Joe Morgan. All right, continuing on. Still with the Cincinnati Reds. Card number 40. Cincinnati Reds outfielder, number 30 in your program, Ken Griffey Sr. That's right, the kid's dad. We all are familiar with Ken Griffey Sr. because of the great career that Junior had later on, which included a game where Senior and Junior homered in back-to-back at-bats. Pretty amazing stuff. You couldn't even script that. So Ken Griffey Sr., that's a pretty decent card to have in this set as well. All right. Up next is number 41, Pete Rose. Uh-oh, that is not Pete Rose. We've got another card pilfered from the set. Pete Rose is not in here. Also not in the Hall of Fame, sadly, because of the gambling scandal. But Pete is missing from the set. Somebody grabbed him out of here. So that's now Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, and Johnny Bench all grabbed from this set. That's kind of an omen. It's not looking real good to get all the big name cards that I was hoping to get. We've got a few. We got a Phil Niekro. We got Sparky Anderson. We got Tony Perez so far. We got Ken Griffey Sr. even. Still encouraging what I'm seeing here. And just on condition alone, this is in really good shape. Even if I sell all these as base, my floor on vintage cards, should be a nice set to turn. So that'll take us to our next card number 42 in the set. After number 41, Pete Rose was missing. Number 42 is Cincinnati Reds outfielder Ed Armbrister. Also, birth name Edison Armbrister. So there we go. Good image of Ed there. He looks not too thrilled to be taking a photo today. That happens sometimes. All right. Card number 43, Cincinnati Reds infielder John Vukovic. Card number 44, Cincinnati Reds outfielder number 15, George Foster. Pretty heavy hitter there in George Foster. Card number 45, Cincinnati Reds outfielder Cesar Geronimo. Still continuing with slightly off center to the left. Some are slightly better than others, but in general, so far every card's been off center to the left. Card number 46, Mervyn Rettenmund, Cincinnati Reds outfielder. And that concludes our Cincinnati Reds in the set. We'll switch those out, and we're going to be moving on to some Houston Astros. I know the guy I'm looking for from the Houston Astros should be one Nolan Ryan. Although, as I think about it, I don't remember what years Nolan Ryan played with which team. He was with so many. He was with the Angels, the Astros, the Rangers. Was there the Mets? I think he was drafted by the Mets. Yeah, I don't remember which year he was with which team. So maybe he won't be with these Houston Astros. So let's jump on in with card number 47 with the Houston Astros, James Crawford, relief pitcher. Now, James Crawford was traded in the late season to the Detroit Tigers. Card number 48, Houston pitcher, Ken Forsch. Card number 49, Houston pitcher, Douglas Konechny. I'm not really familiar with him. Konieczny. Konechny. I'll go Doug Konechny. All right. And card number 50, I do know this gentleman, another pitcher, Joe Niekro, Phil's brother. Not in the Hall of Fame like Phil, but a quality pitcher nonetheless. Just got a little overshadowed by his brother Phil. Card number 51, Houston catcher and first baseman, Clifford Johnson. I almost said Clifford Robinson. That would have been a wrong sport. All of a sudden I was thinking basketball. Clifford Johnson, thank you very much. All right. Next up, card number 52, Houston Astros catcher, Alfred Henry, better known as Skip Jutz. And card number 53, Another late season trade to the Tigers. Catcher Milton May. Card number 54. Second baseman, shortstop, Robert Andrews. He looks very happy to be there. Condition, a little better on the centering. Not perfect. If we look a little closer here. Bottom's off on that one. The sides are a little closer, but still slightly left. So it looks like this whole set's going to be a little bit off center. These Astros cards are definitely looking a little better on the sides, so that's interesting. All right, card number 55, infielder Kenny Boswell. Card number 56, another late season trade, this time to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Second baseman Tommy Helms. Card number 57, Houston Astros shortstop, number 14, Henry Metzger. Card number 58, infielder Lawrence Milburn. Also known as Larry. All right. I've got my first, let me double check here. So 58, 59. Got my first horizontal card. I didn't really expect any horizontal cards in here. This was another late season trade, this time the San Diego Padres. It is third baseman Douglas Lee Rader. Let me see if I can turn this without creating a big mess. There you go. Pretty gritty determination on his face. Look how much he's choked up on that bat. Do you think that's really how he held his bat, or if he was just doing that for the photo? I find that very interesting. As a former baseball player myself, I don't know that I would ever choke up on a bat like that unless I was hitting BP. That's about the only time. So interesting image there of Doug Rader. I'm going to switch these out just to save a little space. And we're going to move on to card number 60, first baseman, outfielder, Bob Watson. Card number 61, infielder, outfielder, number 23 for your Astros, Enos Cable Jr. Card number 62, outfielder, Jose Cruz. Card number 63, outfielder, Cesar Cedeno. Gotta love the old Houston 70s unis. So colorful down there. Card number 64, outfielder, Greg Gross. Look at that big star on there. Card number 65, outfielder, Wilbur Howard. And we are going to move on to your Los Angeles Dodgers next. Card number 66, Alfonso Downing. Card number 67, pitcher Bert Hooton. Card number 68, relief pitcher. This is a player I remember. He's a knuckleballer, Charlie Huff. Card number 69, pitcher, Los Angeles Dodgers, number 25. Unfortunately, this pitcher is more known for the surgical procedure that took his name, Tommy John. Card number 70, Los Angeles Dodgers, pitcher, number 47, Andy Messersmith. Card number 71, Dodgers pitcher, Doug Rao. Give him a hand. Card number 73. This is a player that I got to watch play with my 1982 Milwaukee Brewers on their march to the World Series. We were able to acquire this player who made a huge difference for us. Dodgers pitcher number 20, Don Sutton, another Hall of Famer. All right, so we're back on track here now. The last two, Tony Perez and Don Sutton, we do have in the set. So really pleased to see Don Sutton in there. Again, we continue with the off-center issues. This one, the top and the bottom are pretty good, but left to right is still a little bit off, unfortunately. But I think that's fairly common in production in those 70s sets. Things just weren't as precise, maybe, as they are today. But who am I kidding? Even today, I can rip a fresh pack today of 2024 tops, and they're just as likely to be off-center. All right, where were we? Number 74, Dodgers shortstop, number 1 in your program and number 1 in your hearts, Fred Auerbach. Card number 75, third baseman for the Dodgers, number 10, Ron Cey. That's a pretty well-liked player. Still carries a lot of weight with the Dodger fans. Did they call Ron Cey the Penguin? I feel like they call him the Penguin. Does it say anything on the back? Let's take a look. Ronald Charles Cey. Yeah, I don't see anything about the Penguin. But I'm pretty sure, I feel like I've heard him called the Penguin. I don't know why. I don't know what that nickname was about. But I remember the nickname the Penguin. Card number 76. Dodgers shortstop number 14, Ivan De Jesus. Card number 77. Let's see. Let me look at this one. Anything special about this one? I'm pretty sure he was an all-star this year. Just kind of glancing at my all-star list again. Well, Ron Cey was an all-star. Going back to Ron Cey. Here he is. Yep, this guy was an all-star as well. Card number 77, Dodgers first baseman, number 6, Steve Garvey. Not in the Hall of Fame, unfortunately, but he was an all-star. Let's see, Steve Garvey. I thought he had some other accomplishments that year as well. No, I don't see him on my list. He was an all-star. Let's see. He was not a rookie. Yeah. So just a successful season for him and an all-star game appearance. Definitely had a good career on the diamond, and then made some money in advertising and TV afterwards as well. All right, card number 78, infielder, outfielder for the Atlanta Braves after a late season trade, Leonidas Lacy. Card number 79, your stolen base leader for 1975 and former Brewers manager, infielder, outfielder, Davey Lopes, everybody. Davey Lopes. Look at that hair. Just that hat cannot contain it. Card number 80, third baseman, Ken McMullen. Card number 81, catcher, outfielder, Joe Ferguson. Look at that stash. The 70s were a different time. Card number 82, catcher, outfielder, Paul Powell. Card number 83, catcher, number 7 for your Dodgers, Steve Yeager. I do recall some good seasons from Steve Yeager as well. Let's see. Dodgers 84, outfielder, Willie Crawford. Number 85 in the set, outfielder, Henry Cruz. Wow, look at those glasses, man. The glasses and the stash. Whew, different times. All right, number 86 in the set. This gentleman went on to be a long-tenured manager as well. I think I remember him, his most productive years, I think, were with the, I want to say the Indians, now Guardians, and the Phillies maybe. But back in 75, he was Dodgers outfielder, Charlie Manuel. Card number 87 in the set. I do remember this player as well. Outfielder, number 11 for your Dodgers, Manny Mota. Card number 88, outfielder, first baseman, number 17, traded to the Atlanta Braves late in the season, Tom Paciorek. Card 89 in the sets. Just take a glance, make sure we didn't skip anything. Yep, 89. Outfielder, number 23, also traded to the Atlanta Braves, Jim Wynn. Jim Wynn. Card number 90, we've got the Dodgers manager, number 24, Hall of Famer, Walt Alston. Always good to get one of those Hall of Famers. So 3 for 3 in the last round of Hall of Famers after we missed out on Joe Morgan and Johnny Bench. Overall, I think that puts us 5 for 7. Yeah, 5 for 7 on Hall of Famers. So not too bad, not too bad. Even though we missed out on 2 high-profile names, we're still getting some of those Hall of Famers. So I like it. Card number 91 in the set, outfielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers, number 22, the often much maligned Bill Buckner. I think, what was it, Boston fans will remember Bill Buckner. Card number 92, pitcher of the, oh, you know what? We're changing teams. So I'm going to switch out my stack. We are going to the San Francisco Giants next. San Francisco Giants. And we're going to start with card number 92, pitcher Jim Barr. Continuing on with those off-centered problems. Card number 93, pitcher Mike Caldwell, another guy that ended up with my Brewers for that 82 World Series run. Card number 94, pitcher John D'Acquisto. Card number 95, relief pitcher David Heaverlo. Card number 96, relief pitcher Gary Lavelle. That is the classic baseball portrait there for me. That's the one I remember. And in particular, that was for pitchers. They all like to take that pose. Card number 97, pitcher John Manfusco Jr. Card number 98, relief pitcher Charlie Williams. Card number 99, infielder and catcher Chris Arnold. Card number 100. We're 100 in. Okay, we've got our first condition issue here. Looks like this card must have been crammed in wrong at some point. May have even been when I put them back in with the sleeves on them. But we've got a little bit of creasing on one edge. See that? We got Mark Hill, catcher for the San Francisco Giants. Yeah, see that crease went all the way through. I'm going to pull that one out and set that one aside. Well, you know what? I'll leave it in the set as is so that I keep the order right. And then I'll address it when I pull out the singles and start listing them. All right, up next, we've got card number 101. You know what? Let me check something here. I just noticed this Mark Hill card is also in the checklist. It's marked with an uncorrected error. Mark Kevin Hill, San Francisco Giants catcher. I wonder what the error is. I might have to look that up because I don't see anything initially on the card that would indicate to me what that error was. All right, so we should be going to card number 101, catcher Dave Rader. There we go. Card number 102, infielder Charlie Miller. Card number 103. First baseman, Guillermo Montanez. Little bit of rough photography on that one. It must have been getting late in the day. Lighting wasn't perfect, but they still went through with it, right? Card number 104. Looks like a utility infielder. Well, third base, first base, outfielder, Steve Ontiveros. Card number 105. Shortstop, Chris Spire. Spire or Spear? I'm not entirely sure. Let's see. It's S-P-E-I-E-R. I would call that Spire. Chris Spire. Card number 106. Second baseman, Daryl Thomas. Card number 107. Outfield first baseman, Gary Thomason. What are they looking at? They're looking past the photographer at something. Card number 108, outfielder, Glenn Adams. Getting ready to lay down a nice bunt. Card number 109, outfielder, Von Joshua. Card number 110, outfielder, Gary Matthews. Pretty solid player there, and Gary Matthews. I think he maybe went on to play for San Diego as well. Card number 111, outfielder, Bobby Ray Mercer. Card number 112, this guy was made to steal bases. Outfielder, Horace Speed the Third. We got a manager, number 113. This is kind of funny because they must have made a change at the end of the season, because you'll see on the back it says ex-manager. San Francisco Giants ex-manager Wes Westrom. All right, we'll move the Giants out of there. We're going to move on to the San Diego Padres. All right. We've got card number 114. We're still in order. Pitcher, Rich Folkers. Card number 115. Pitcher, Alan Foster. Why am I flipping these over on the back? You want to see the front, don't you? There we go. Folkers, Foster. Another pitcher. Number 116 in the set, David Freiselben. Card number 117, relief pitcher, Daniel Frizella. Card number 118, pitcher, Randall Jones. Into the windup he goes. Card number 119, pitcher, Daniel Spillner. Card number 120, relief pitcher, Larry Hardy. He's a pretty hardy player. He's on the field most of the time. He's very hardy. That's it. That's the dad jokes coming out in me. Card number 121, catcher Randy Hundley. I am curious now. Modern catcher Todd Hundley. I wonder if that is any relation to Randy Hundley. Card number 122, catcher Fred Kendall. We got a manager, card number 123, John McNamara of the San Diego Padres. Card number 124, second baseman. I remember this guy, Tito Fuentes. Card number 125, shortstop, Enzo Octavio Hernandez. Card number 126, infielder, Steven Huntz. So that one looks pretty well centered. We might have got a stretch of better centering. Let's pull these out a little bit. Yeah. So these San Diego cards must have been off of a different cut because they are much better centered. You can even see it in that image there. These are boy, I don't have my centering tool handy, but I think these are pretty close to dead on. Maybe just slightly towards the top, but almost imperceptible. All right, card 127, first baseman, Michael Ivy. Everybody's looking up in those stands. What was her name? Was it there was the Kissing Bandit in like this late 70s, early 80s, and she would run onto the field and she would give a player a kiss on the cheek or whatever. What was her name? I almost said Barbarella, but I know it's not Barbarella. Let me take a drink of my coffee. Maybe it'll come to me. It worked. Coffee is a cure-all. Morgana, the Kissing Bandit. Does that sound right? All right, where are we here in our checklist? 128, third baseman, Hector Torres. 129, infielder, Theodore Ted Kubiak. 130, outfielder, John Grubb Jr. He's like, I don't want nothing to do with that Morgana. I'm looking the other way. 131, outfielder, John Scott. 132, outfielder, Robert Tolan. Centering continues to look pretty good at this point in the set. Again, slightly top to bottom, but not as bad as the left to right was before. All right, we're going to switch over to the Chicago White Sox, rocking the blue and red unis in the 75 season. We're going to start with card number 134. Wait a minute. We've got a problem. We went from card... let's see. We went from card 131, John Scott, and we jumped to 134. How did that happen? Did we have Bob Tolan? Did we get Bob Tolan? 133 Bob Tolan. Let's see here. We went up 132 Bob Tolan. We've got that. So that's good. We got our Bob Tolan. But 133 is Dave Winfield. And the next card here is 134. We've got another Hall of Famer missing. Dave Winfield pilfered from the set to join Johnny Bench and Joe Morgan. So we will go on to 134 with the Chicago White Sox pitcher, Bill Gogolewski, I'm going with. But look at those blue and red unis the White Sox were rocking back in the day. I have to say, I like the black and white unis much, much better. These are weird to me. They make me want to say Phillies or Cardinals. It's just doesn't seem right for the Chicago White Sox. All right, so that was 134. We've got 135. We've got pitcher Danny Osborne. 136. We've got a Hall of Famer here. Card number 136. Let's see. I believe he was an all-star. It's not a rookie. Didn't win any postseason awards. But this guy is a Hall of Famer. He had a heck of a career. Let's see. The Phillies put together a package of 3 fine prospects to pry the rejuvenated lefty from the White Sox during December of 75. So, started 75 with the White Sox, ended it, well, really after the season, was traded to the Philadelphia Phillies. He had a great year in 75 by employing a new quick pitch delivery. He went 20-14 with a 3.11 ERA, 142 strikeouts, 12 complete games, and 1 shutout. A veteran of 17 seasons in the AL, he's compiled a 235 and 187 record with over 2,000 Ks and an ERA of 3.30. He began with the Senators in 59, moved with the club to Minnesota in 61. The Twins gave up on him as too old in 73. selling him to Chicago, for whom he won 41 games in 2 years. He won 25 games in 1966. Hall of Famer Jim Cat, everybody. Jim Cat. Look at that. Too old. I like that. Gave up on him as too old. Then he went on to be successful for a few more years. All right, so we're back on track with our Hall of Famers. Card number 136, Jim Cat. Up next, we've got card number 137, Chicago White Sox pitcher Claude Osteen. Card number 138, relief pitcher Cecil Upshaw Jr. Look at that handlebar mustache, ladies and gentlemen. That is impressive. I think I've often said, if I could grow a handlebar mustache, I would try it. Well, I would rock it, I should say. I've tried it. I just can't grow the hair properly to get that edge and twirl it. Plus, it takes a lot more care. Like, that's finely waxed up on those fringes. Pretty impressive, though. All right, card 139, White Sox pitcher Wilbur Wood Jr. Look at that. He's got that forkball ready to go. Card number 140, pitcher Lloyd Allen. We've got a little bit of the centering issues back again, going left to right. Card 141, catcher Brian Downing. 142, catcher James Essien Jr. Card 143, Bucky Dent, shortstop for the Chicago White Sox. I do recall Bucky Dent. He played quite a while. Card number 144, second baseman, all-star Jorge Horta. Card number 145, infielder, outfielder, St. Louis Cardinals number 9 after a late season trade, Lee Richard. Card number 146, infielder, Bill Stein. Card 147, traded to the Atlanta Braves late in the season, Ken Henderson. Looking to see what's on that bat. There's a mark on that bat. Looks like a big number 1. It's not anything like the Billy Ripken card, I guess. Card number 148. 148. We've got first baseman, outfielder, Carlos May. Card 149. Outfielder, Niles Nyman. Niles Nyman. That is a cool name. Niles Nyman. Card number 150. Outfielder, Bob Coluccio Jr. Card 151. Oakland A's manager after a change at the end of 75. Manager Charles Tanner Jr. Did he go by Chuck? I feel like it's Chuck Tanner Jr. That feels more natural to me than Charles or Charlie Tanner. All right, still with the Chicago White Sox, outfielder Pat Kelly. Did he also play with the Twins for a number of years? I feel like I remember Pat Kelly with the Twins. Card 153 coming up. We've got outfielder Jerry Hairston. I believe his son, Jerry Hairston Jr., played for years, too, in the modern era. Card number 154, catcher Pete Varney Jr. Pistol Pete there. All right. Where are we at? Pete Varney we just had, right? 155, third baseman, Bill Melton. And then we should have a Hall of Famer coming up next, looking at my checklist. We are looking for card number 156, and we have it. We've got Chicago White Sox relief pitcher, number 54, Hall of Famer, Goose Gossage, given name Rich. Look at that classic photo. How's the centering? We've got that left to right centering issue again, unfortunately. But otherwise, perfect condition. Let's look at the back. 6'3", 215 pounds, born 7/5/51. Bats right, throws right. Richard Michael Gossage, better known as the Goose, led the majors with 26 saves under the Chicago bullpen in 75. Obviously, that would make him most likely an all-star. Yeah, Rich Gossage is on my all-star list. Saves leader, as we said, 26. Fantastic season. I think later on, I feel like I remember him going to the Yankees. Does that sound right? In those early 80s when I was into baseball, got old enough to understand it now. I feel like he was already with the Yankees at that time. All right, let me flip that back over. We are still going with the White Sox. We've got card 157, relief pitcher Terry Forster. 158, relief pitcher Richard Michael Hinton. And that concludes our Chicago White Sox. Pretty good run on the White Sox. We've got another Hall of Famer in Goose Gossage. That makes 2 out of the last 3. So we're still batting about, 700 on our Hall of Famers? Not too bad. Not overly picked out. Little bummed that we didn't get the Johnny Bench and the Joe Morgan. The Dave Winfield's a little bit of a bummer, but it doesn't hurt me quite as bad. But we got the Jim Cat, we got the Rich Gossage, we got a Tony Perez, we got a Phil Niekro, Sparky Anderson, Walt Alston in his manager days. We got Don Sutton. Stoked about Don Sutton. All right, now we're going on to the Kansas City Royals. That should be a fun one. Up first, we've got card 159. We've got pitcher traded to the Texas Rangers, Nelson Briles. Where you at? There he is, Nelson Briles. Card 160, we've got pitcher Alan Fitzmaurice. Card 161, we've got relief pitcher Stephen Mingori. 162, we've got pitcher Martin Patton. 163, we've got pitcher Paul William Splittorff Jr. I wonder if he throws a splitter. He's got to throw a splitter, right? Don't you think? All right, card 164. 164, pitcher Dennis Leonard. Sometimes you can't think of a good name for your child, at least a first name. There's so many choices, so then you just go with 2 first names. Dennis Leonard, where you at? Card 165, catcher Buck Martinez. I do remember some Buck Martinez back in the day. Card 166. 166, catcher Bob Stinson. Check out the given name on this gentleman, Goral Robert Stinson III. I don't know that I've ever seen the name Goral before. I wonder where that comes from. Like, is that kind of a foreign common name? I don't know. All right. That was 166. We should have a Hall of Famer coming up. Number 167, George Brett. That doesn't look like George Brett. 168, Harmon Killebrew, Hall of Famer. Okay, we missed out on George Brett, but we do have Harmon Killebrew in his final major league season. Look at the write-up on the back of this card. I'm kind of pumped about this. I am bummed about George Brett. He was a classic player in my days. 82. Him and Robin Yount were like rivals, and they were both so good. It wasn't that I hated George Brett. It was that I respected him as a player in a rival team. But he stuck with me because of the attachment he and Robin Yount had in playing against each other. But let's talk Harmon Killebrew here. I like the back of this card. After completing his 22nd year as one of baseball's greatest sluggers, Harmon's career ended in 1975. 21 of his 22 seasons were spent with Washington and then Minnesota, and his last with Kansas City. He had 2,086 career hits, including 290 doubles, 24 triples, and 573 homers to go with 1,584 RBI in 2,435 games and a career average of 256. 6 times the AL's homer champ, 3 times its RBI leader, and once its MVP. So, when we're talking about cards with value, we like to talk about, do they have the accolades? He's got an MVP. He's been a multi-time homer champ. He's been 3-time RBI leader. He is a Hall of Famer. So, it looks like we can check off the accolades for Harmon Killebrew. Let's see. He played at first, third, and in the outfield. He had 10, count them, 10 100 RBI seasons and 8 times topped 40 blasts in one season. Nicknamed Killer, he's a sure bet for the Hall of Fame, and you were 100% correct on that, Keith Olbermann. He is, in fact, in the Hall of Fame. So he played his last season in 75. Looking at this image, I'd say he could have gone another 3-4 seasons, don't you think? Looks like he's in pretty good shape yet. He doesn't look that old. I don't know how old he was in 75, but I think Killer could have went at least a few more seasons. So we came through in our search for our Hall of Famers. We did get the Harmon Killebrew. We missed out on George Brett. You know what that says to me? To me, I think that says that whoever did go through these cards, I think they may have been younger and maybe didn't know all the names in the set. Because if you think about it, the names that went were very high profile or younger, like George Brett. Dave Winfield, I don't think, was very old at this time either. So it's interesting what came out and what didn't so far. All right, let's continue on with our Kansas City Royals. Card number 169, first baseman, John Mayberry. Let's get a little bit out of that glare from the lighting. Apologize for that. Card number 170, shortstop, Freddie Patek. Card number 171, second baseman, Octavio Cookie Rojas. Card 172, infielder, outfielder, Rodney Darrell Scott. Card number 173, first baseman, Tony Salida. Tony Salida, everybody. Card 174, infielder, Frank White Jr. He had a pretty good career as well, from what I recall. I think he was perennially up near the top 10 in hitting stats. Because I remember a lot of fanfare for Frank White when I was a kid. Number 175 in the set, outfielder Al Cowens Jr. And he's got a little bit of a goofy face there. So we talked about the photography in this set being a little bit fun. And this is an example of that. I said earlier, they did not get sign-off from any of the players on these images. These photographers took the images, turned them into SSPC, and SSPC sent it to the printer. So I think that adds to some of the unique charm for this set. And I think it adds some value as well. Card number 176, another guy that, although he's not in the Hall of Fame, he had some very successful years. Outfielder Harold McRae. Card 177, outfielder Amos Otis. Again, 2 first names. Amos Otis, come on over here. Card number 178, outfielder Veda Pinson Jr. Pinson Jr. Let's see, where are we at in this set? Veda, Pinson. All right, 179, outfielder James Wolford. Wolford. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of one of the Von Erich wrestlers. If I didn't know better, if you just showed me that picture and weren't showing me a baseball card and a baseball uniform, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's Kerry Von Erich or something. That is eerie, the way Jim Wolford looks like the Von Erichs to me. He could have been in that new movie that came out. Card number 180, relief pitcher, Jim Bird. 181, pitcher, Mark Littell. 182, pitcher, Bob McClure. Another guy that found his way to the Brewers for that fantastic run in 82. Card 183, pitcher, Steve Busby. Catcher, card 184, Frank Healy. Look at the old catcher gear. There is hardly nothing to that chest protector. That's how they did it back in the day. They were tough. And our last Kansas City Royals card, number 185 in the set, we've got Doral Norman Elvert, better known as Whitey Herzog. Hit the hip-hop horns. We got a Hall of Famer here. Whitey Herzog in his managerial days. Trying to think of Whitey Herzog's playing days. Who did he come to fame with? Was it the Tigers? Was it the Tigers or the Yankees? I feel like it was one of those two. I don't know Whitey's history. I feel like I know him more from his manager days, and I don't really know much about his playing days. But definitely a well-known name in Major League Baseball. A Hall of Famer, through and through. So that gives us Whitey Herzog, Harmon Killebrew, Goose Gossage, Jim Catt, Walt Alston, Don Sutton, Tony Perez, Sparky Anderson, and Phil Niekro on our Hall of Famer list so far. All right, we'll switch it out, and we're going to start with the California Angels. I almost said the California Raisins. That's a whole different group. All right, let's make sure we're picking up in the right spot. 186, pitcher for the California Angels. We've got Andy Hassler. Andy Hassler. Let's see, get this lined up. There we go. Got to get the first one set because all the other ones are going to follow it, right? All right, up next, it's a big card moment. 186 should be followed by 187. Nolan Ryan with the California Angels. That does not look like Nolan Ryan. That is Bill Singer, pitcher for the California Angels. Looks like Nolan Ryan has been pilfered from the set. We lost out on Nolan Ryan, Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, and Dave Winfield. Them's the breaks, folks. So we'll go with card 188, Bill Singer. I'm a huge fan of Nolan Ryan. I tend to collect a bunch of Nolan Ryan cards. Well, I used to. Now I only have one Nolan Ryan card in my PC, and I sell most of the other ones. But when I think about, do I want to grow a PC on a player, Nolan Ryan is a card I would go back to and say, I want to get the best Nolan Ryan card I can get. All right, let's move on. We've got a league leader up next. Card number 189 in the set. The 1975 strikeouts leader, pitcher Frank Tanana, led the league with 269 strikeouts in 1975. I would imagine that made him an all-star too, don't you think? Frank Tanana. Let's check the all-star list. Did he make the all-star game? Oh, looking through. Marshall, Matlock, McGraw, Messersmith, Lozinski, Watson, Perez, again, Rios. I do not see him. He led the league in strikeouts, but he did not make the all-star game. I bet he made the 1976 all-star game, provided he was not injured and out of the game. All right, let's move on. Card number 190, pitcher Ed Figueroa. Card 191, outfielder David Collins. Card 192, manager of the California Angels, Richard Hirschfeld Williams. I think he went by Dick. I feel like it's Dick Williams. Let's see what it says in the checklist. Sure enough, Dick Williams. And Dick Williams is a Hall of Famer, voted in by the Baseball Writers of America. Hall of Famer Dick Williams. We hit another one. All right, so we got a few managers in the Hall of Famer list. It's interesting. I wonder if whoever went through this set before me just didn't know that these guys were Hall of Famers, or maybe when they went through them, they weren't Hall of Famers yet. I don't know. What I do know is that Dick Williams is a Hall of Famer, and he's in the set. Let's look at that card a little closer. How's the centering? This one's decent. Probably not perfect, but I would say pretty well within guidelines to get maybe a PSA 10 on that. Would you grade a Dick Williams Hall of Famer to get a PSA 10? Would it be worth it? I don't know. I typically don't grade any card unless it's worth $50 or more, essentially. Because by the time I spend the money to get it graded and ship it in, I've already got $25-$30 invested in the card. So if I'm going to flip it, it's got to be worth $50 or more. Now, I will grade a few cards that I want to keep for my PC. One, it keeps them in great condition. I don't have to worry about any damage to them. Two, I think it makes for great presentation. But if I'm looking to sell a card, I got to have enough value in there to justify grading it. I can't grade a base card of something and then sell it for $8 when it costs me $25-$30 to get it graded. That's just not good math, right? I don't know if that falls under Common Core math, but it's not good math to me. All right. Got us going on a Hall of Famer again. Up next, we got 193 in the set, catcher Eliseo Rodriguez. Card number 194, California Angels third baseman David Chalk. Card 195, infielder, outfielder Winston Lenas. L-L-E-N-A-S. Lenas? I'm not sure. The double L, I recall, means something in pronunciation rules, but I don't remember exactly what it is. So I very well could be pronouncing that wrong. Card 196, we've got infielder Rudy Mioli. Got the sun coming down there. Looks like, oh, interesting. I wonder which New York stadium that is in. We've got card 197, staying on track, shortstop Orlando Ramirez. Card 198, second baseman Gerald Remy. Card 199, shortstop Billy Smith. Card 200, first baseman Bruce Bochy. Is this manager Bruce Bochy? Most recently, I think he was with the Giants managing, right? It looks like it could be him in 75. That's another one that we'll have to check out. All right, card 201, outfielder Joe LaHood Jr. We got lots of juniors in this set. Outfielder, card number 202, California Angels, number 16, traded to the White Sox late in the year. Outfielder, Morris Nettles Jr. Card 203, outfielder, traded to the New York Yankees. Mick the Quick, John Milton, Mickey Rivers. Not a Hall of Famer, but a great name for Yankees fans. I think that's a really nice card to have. Looks like the condition is really, I'm going to pull it away. Yeah, centering is pretty good. Little bit right to left, I think. Boy, I don't know. That looks like centering is as good as it can be in this set. A little bit top to bottom, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know how that one would grade out. But Mickey Rivers, Mick the Quick, first of all, he's got a cool nickname. Gotta love Mick the Quick. The Yankees acquired the AL stolen base champ from the Angels on December 11th, along with Ed Figueroa, in return for Bobby Bonds. Mick the Quick really blossomed in 75, finishing at 285 with 17 doubles, 13 triples, tying him for the big league leadership with George Brett, 1 homer, 53 RBIs, and a whopping 70 steals, which you'll remember Davey Lopes led the league with 77 that year. Let's see. Originally inked by the Braves, he made the majors in late 70 with California and had brief stints in 71, 72, and 73 before sticking in 74 to hit 285 with a league-leading 11 triples. He has 61 doubles, 32 triples, 5 homers, 122 RBI, 126 steals, and a 280 hitting mark in 456 games. That's card number 203. Mick the Quick, Mickey Rivers. That's a nice card to see. I don't think I'll have any trouble finding a buyer for that. Card 204, outfielder Leroy Stanton. And that takes us to the Minnesota Twins. So we're going to change out here. Let's see. Whew, we got a lot of cards to go yet, right? We're only, 100 or so in. 200 in. Okay. All right. Thank you. My assistant Stu clarified for me that we are 200 cards in. All right. So up next, I believe we're at card 205. We've got the Minnesota Twins pitcher, Vic Albury. Vic Albury right there. Love the old Twins jerseys. I think that is a good use of blue and red. Makes no sense on the Chicago White Sox, but I like it on the Twins. Card 206, relief pitcher Tom Bergmeyer. Card 207, pitcher William Butler. Card 208, pitcher William Campbell. Card 209, pitcher Alton Ray Corbin. Card 210, pitcher Joe Decker Jr. Classic baseball pitcher pose there. Card 211, pitcher James Hughes. Card 212, pitcher Edward Norman Bain. Card 213, catcher Glenn Borgman. Nice classic batter stance portrait there. And that brings us, let's see, looking at the checklist, we should have a Hall of Famer coming up. We are looking for card number 214, Rodney Klein Carew. We got it. We got a Rod Carew. Eyes closed, mouth open, bat out in front. I don't know what was going on in this picture. That is ridiculously goofy. But we have a Hall of Famer here in Rod Carew. You will remember that he had a fine season in 1975. He led the league in batting with a .359 average for the Minnesota Twins. I would imagine he had to be an all-star as well, right? You can't hit .359 and not be an all-star. Let's see. Looking through Greg Nettles, Munson, Carew. There he is. He was an all-star. Rod Carew, great player. Fantastic to see him there. I look at that image and I say, how do you send that for publishing? Unless you intentionally said, let's have some fun with that, right? Let's take a look at the back real quick. Number 29 for the Twins, infielder, 6 foot, 175, born 10/1/45, bats right, throws right. Look at that. If Rod Carew played in New York, Los Angeles, or Chicago, baseball quote-unquote experts would be hailing him as the current Ty Cobb. That sounds like Keith Olbermann. He's hit no lower than 307 in the past 7 campaigns and topped the majors with an astounding 359 average in 75, while winning his 4th straight AL and 3rd straight big league bat title. He also totaled 24 doubles, 4 triples, 14 homers, 80 RBI, both career highs, and steals, and now has 212 doubles, 52 triples, 46 homers, 473 RBI, and 172 steals to go with an incredible 328 lifetime average. Usually a second sacker, he may play first in 75, came to the Twins, and was top AL rookie in 67. Very cool, Rod Carew. I remember, I think it was in 82, I had one of those like Topps sticker books, collecting the stickers, and I remember Rod Carew was one of the featured like combination stickers that you put them all together. It was it stands out in my memory for some reason. He did not look like this though. So we got another Hall of Famer in Rod Carew. Card number 215, outfielder Steve Bry. Card number 216, outfielder Dan Ford. Now, we may have another Hall of Famer coming up. 217 should be Tony Oliva. I don't know what Tony Oliva looks like. I don't know if you do. We've got it. Another Hall of Famer, Antonio Tony Oliva, DH for the Minnesota Twins. So, we're back on track with our Hall of Famers. Good to see another one. Now, this one's interesting to me because I don't know that name. I don't think there's too often that I'm like, that's a Hall of Famer. I never heard of him. But Tony Oliva here, well, the more I say it, the more I feel like I have heard of it. He wasn't a player that I followed, and wasn't a player that, to me, didn't seem to consistently be in the headlines, I guess I would say. Otherwise, I feel like I would know them better. All right, 2 for 2 on Minnesota Hall of Famers. How about that? Card 218, pitcher David Goltz. Card 219, I see some orange on my checklist again. We are looking for card 219, Rick Albert, Bly11. There he is. We've got our 3rd Twins Hall of Famer. How about that? In 1975, the Minnesota Twins had 3 future Hall of Famers on their team. What did they do with that? They didn't go to the World Series. I can tell you that. We know it was Boston and Oakland. Was it Oakland? Boston. Who did we say was in the World Series? Boston and the Cincinnati Reds in the World Series. So the Twins had all that talent and couldn't get over the hump with it. So Rick Albert, you would know better as Bert Blyleven. Fantastic pitcher. As it says here, a native of Zeist, Holland. Very cool to get his card as a Hall of Famer. Looks like condition-wise, that is centered really nice. There's no damage anywhere on the card, front or back. I should be able to get a nice turn for that. I will even look into possibly grading that one. I think that would be great. All right. Well, moving on, we've got Minnesota outfielder number 9, card number 220 in the set. A gentleman I met personally as a young boy in the Milwaukee playgrounds, Larry Heil, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice man. Possibly inspired me to play baseball until I was 40 years old. That was my last season as a competitive baseball player. I played through my year 40 season and called it quits because my body couldn't take it anymore. But Larry Heil probably had a big piece of forming my lifelong love of baseball when I met him on a playground in Milwaukee. Still with the Twins, we've got outfielder, infielder, card number 221, Steve Braun III. We've got infielder number 1, Jerry Terrell. third baseman Eric Soderholm. We've got catcher Phil Roof. And we've got infielder Danny Thompson. All right, so what number are we on here? That was card 225. 225 takes us to Danny Thompson. We're going to jump to the Milwaukee Brewers next. My favorite, the Milwaukee Brewers. And we will see if we can get through to... Maybe we'll get to card 300 and we'll take a quick break, all right? Oh, my goodness. This next card is card 226, Milwaukee Brewers pitcher, number 48, Jim Colburn. Iconic image here. Look at that. He looks like Snidely Whiplash. I think that was his name. Snidely Whiplash from Rocky and Bullwinkle. Gritting his teeth, throwing a pitch. Got the handlebar mustache rocking. That is an awesome picture. I'm not going to lie. I might have to say to myself, does that stay in my personal collection? The centering's a little off. So maybe that's a good candidate for me to keep for myself rather than trying to resell it. But that is an amazing image. I love that. I feel like if I made a baseball card of myself, I might want to do something like that. All right, moving on. Card 227, relief pitcher, Tom Murphy. Look at the old classic 70s Milwaukee Brewers logo hat, too. You got the yellow front, and then you got just the black M on there. I do remember those. Look at the jersey, though. Those are historically one of the most fan favorite jerseys of the Milwaukee Brewers. Those were the baby blue pullovers. So you'll notice there's no buttons, there's no seam in the front. That jersey is a complete one-piece pullover, and they were awesome. In fact, many of us still get them as throwbacks. All right, card 228, relief pitcher Eduardo Rodriguez. Card 229, pitcher Jim Slayton. Card 230, pitcher Ed Sprague. A lot of these guys were still around for the 82 World Series, I feel. I feel like I remember most of these guys. Catcher outfielder, card number 231, Charlie Moore Jr. I recall him as well as a young kid. He always stuck out to me because we shared the same first name. Card 232, catcher Daryl Porter. Look at that goatee mustache. What do you call that? Is that called the Fu Manchu, where they run it down and kind of thicken it out at the bottom? That is an impressive facial hair choice. Like, I don't think I could do that today. It seems perfectly at home in the 70s. I don't know that today it would be the same. Although I see some people go around occasionally with that. I guess I would just say, for me personally, I couldn't rock it. Of course, I have, a totally gray goatee now. So I don't think it has the same effect when it's gray. Excuse me. All right. We've got card 232 next. 232. Is that right? Let me double check my checklist. Nope. We've got card 233. 233. We've got Milwaukee Brewers infielder number 2, Kurt Bavecchia. If you're not familiar with Kurt Bavecchia, he's got a classic, iconic Bazooka Joe card of him blowing the largest bubblegum bubble that you may have seen in your life. It's bigger than his head. I do have a copy of it. I wonder, is it handy? I could show you. Tell you what, as a bonus, I'm going to show you the Kurt Bavecchia bubblegum Bazooka Joe card. Oh my gosh. This thing is awesome. Hopefully it shows up okay. I've got it in a top loader because it stays in my PC. Same guy here. 1975, Joe Garagiola, Bazooka bubblegum blowing champ, Kurt Bavecchia, Milwaukee Brewers. That's a Topps card right there. Very fun. And you can see the bracket for the bubblegum blowing championships of 75. Sometimes it's just fun to have these wacky cards. Who did he beat out? Was it Johnny Oates? Looking at the bracket on the back, I might have to get my magnifying glass. Oates. Johnny Oates, yeah. So, there were members of the A's, Angels, Twins, Rangers, Royals, White Sox, Brewers, Indians, Orioles, Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants, Padres, Reds, Braves, Astros, Cubs, Cardinals, Expos, Phillies, and Mets. Johnny Oates came from the Phillies. He beat out Gary Carter, and he beat out Bill Madlock, and he also beat out Rick Rhoden to face off against Bavecchia. Bavecchia came from my Milwaukee Brewers. He beat out Eric Reich, and then he beat out Mickey Scott, I think. So, and it's interesting. They also list they list the bracket kind of interesting. Like they have another. Oh, okay, I see what happened here. Sorry, I was misreading it. So Bavecchia, he beat looks like he actually got a bye into the first round. I don't know why. They're into the second round. But then he beat Williams or Reich. What? This is the weirdest bracket I've ever seen. But to get to the championship round, he beat out Scott. Who's Scott? Mickey Scott. And then he beat Johnny Oates. Tigers and Pirates did not participate, it says. Angel Mangual won team championship. Abbott was runner-up. And this bubble blowing card is from the 76 top set. So yeah, that one stays in my PC just because I find that extremely fun. You see the Bazooka Joe measuring tool there for the bubbles. So that was part of the technique. You had to make sure it didn't pop when it was getting measured, right? But that is a pretty impressive bubble from this guy right here. So that's your bonus for the day. All right, continuing on with our Milwaukee Brewers here. We've got second baseman Pedro Garcia. I better double check my checklist. Okay. Number 235, outfielder, first baseman, Mike Hegan. Mike Hegan went on to have a great broadcasting career in the Milwaukee area, broadcasting games here for the local television station. All right, 236, third baseman, Don Money. Pretty good player there as well. Card 237, George C. Scott Jr. You know what? I think there was another George Scott earlier that I called Boomer. And I think this is the George Boomer Scott that I know for the Milwaukee Brewers. All right. Up next, I see some orange on the checklist. We should have Robin Yount coming up next. And here's what we got. That is not Robin Yount. And to add insult to injury, after Robin Yount, I see card 239 is Hank Aaron. And this is also not Hank Aaron. This is card 240, Robert Walker Ellis. So we have been pilfered of our Robin Yount and Hank Aaron cards. That is a major bummer to me as a Milwaukee Brewers fan. But it's the risk we take when we do private buys on some of this vintage stuff. Chances are good they're going to be picked through. Price it accordingly. Cross your fingers and hopefully things work out. I mean, we got all the Minnesota Twins Hall of Famers, right? So we're not doing too bad. We have far more of them in the set than we're missing. But hurts my heart a little bit to be missing those two Milwaukee Brewers. Oh, well. All right, so we talked about 240, Bob Ellis. Who else we got? We've got a rookie. This is a rookie, number 241, Sixto Lezcano, as I said earlier. my brother delivered papers to Sixto Lezcano and would talk to him every once in a while. And if you ever want to strike up a conversation with my brother, just say, hey, tell me about the time you used to deliver papers to Sixto Lezcano, and he will talk to you about it as long as you let him. All right, card 242, outfielder, Bob Mitchell. Card 243, one of our hometown favorites for the Milwaukee Brewers. He is a team legend, outfielder, James Gorman Thomas the third. See, the third or the second? He is James Gorman Thomas the third. So, home run hitter for the Brewers. 75 was his first. Also, so he should be on the rookie list. Somehow I missed him on the rookie list. So I believe this is, I'll have to verify, but I believe that's a rookie Gorman Thomas. Centering looks really good. That might be a good card for me to do something with. And if not, that may also be a good card for me to keep in my PC, being a huge Gorman Thomas fan. Gorman Thomas actually has his own grill with his name on it at, what is it called now? American Family Field. So he has had some lasting power with the Brewers fan base. So as a Brewers fan, that is an awesome card for me to pull out of this set. All right, 244, we've got pitcher Bill Travers. 245, we've got pitcher Peter Broberg. 246, we've got outfielder Bill Sharp. 247, we've got outfielder Arthur Bobby Lee Darwin. Did he really go by Arthur or did he go by Bobby? I don't remember this guy. He went by Bobby. Bobby Darwin. Okay. Yeah, that's not a name that sticks out for me. All right, card 248 coming up. We've got pitcher Rick Austin. That's got an uncorrected error in it as well. I'm assuming on the back someplace. Then we've got 249, also an uncorrected error. Pitcher Larry Anderson. Then we have card 250, third baseman Tom Bianco. Card 251, pitcher Delancey Lafayette Currents. And that completes my Milwaukee Brewers. So really nice to get that Gorman Thomas in there. I also like the Sixto Lezcano for my brother's sake. Mike Hegan was a nice pull. Kurt Bavecchia is a nice pull. But little heartache on missing out on Robin Yount and Hank Aaron. We're going to go to the Texas Rangers next. We're going to start with card 252. Relief pitcher Stephen Foucault. 253 pitcher Bill Hands Jr. Whoa, why are we doing the backside again? Stu, you got to remind me when I do that. Yeah, I know. It's like I'm a rookie here. All right, 254 pitcher Steve Hargan. He looks a little surprised to be taking that picture. Or there's a giant grizzly bear running at him. Card 255. Pitcher, Texas Rangers, traded to the Boston Red Sox late in the year. Number 31, Fergie Jenkins, Hall of Famer. Heck yeah. Another Hall of Famer coming at us. Fergie Jenkins has got a big following. This one is a little more off-center, left to right again. But that should be a nice vintage card for somebody. There will be someone who wants that for a forever home. I have no doubt. Hall of Famer, Fergie Jenkins. I think his real strongest fan base, unless I'm mistaken, I think it's with the Chicago Cubs. Card 256. This is weird. It's out of sequence. It's not with the rest of his team. This is Milwaukee Brewers second baseman Bob Sheldon. Kind of weird that one was out of sequence. Looks like there's oh, that's just a reflection. I was like, looks like there's a lightning strike next to his bat. That's just a reflection on the card from my light. Silly. All right. Card 257. 257. That is pitcher James Umberger. Card 258, pitcher Clyde Wright. Card 259, catcher Bill Fahey. Card 260, catcher Jim Sundberg. 261, infielder Leo Cardenas. I feel like I remember this guy. I can't tell you too much about him. I don't remember him that much, but the name seems to ring a bell with me. Card 262, I know this guy as a manager. I think he managed the Pirates for a number of years. Infielder Jim Fregosi. 264, infielder Toby Hara. 265, third baseman Roy Howell. 266, infielder outfielder Leonard Randall. Card 267, infielder Roy Smalley III. 268, first baseman Jim Spencer. 269, outfielder Jeff Burrows. 270, outfielder Tom Grieve. 271, outfielder Joe Levito Jr. Looks like he's ready for action. Card 272, Texas Rangers manager Frank Lucchesi. And our last Texas Rangers, at least for some time, he was traded to the Kansas City Royals as the season wound down. Eventually, I knew him as a Milwaukee Brewer, and he provided, he provided studio commentary. So he didn't broadcast the games, but they would kick it back to the studio during the seventh inning stretch, and then pregame and postgame, and our local network here for our Brewers games. But we've got Dave Nelson. I hope I'm not mixing that up. Davey Nelson. He went by Davey, and pretty sure that's him. And he passed away last year. I've for some reason I've got a little doubt in the back of my mind. I'm gonna have to look that up a little more after we're done here, because I would hate to be incorrect on that, but I believe that's the Davey Nelson I know from Brewer games. All right, we've got the St. Louis Cardinals coming up next, and we should have some Hall of Famers in that group as well. So we should be at card 274. This should be a Hall of Famer, Ted Lyle Simmons. We've got him. We've got Ted Simmons, another player who came to the Milwaukee Brewers for that 1982 World Series run. Ted Simmons handled most of the catching duties for the Brewers that year. Also played some outfield, I believe. But at this time in 75, he was with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he eventually became a Baseball Writers of America Hall of Famer. Let's hear it for Ted Simmons. We're still on track with our Hall of Famers, but there's more. We should have back-to-back Hall of Famers. Up next, we're looking for card 275, Lou Brock, and it looks like we have it. Back-to-back Hall of Famers here in the group. Lou Brock, a prolific, I can't even say it, prolific base stealer, held the Major League Baseball record for steals in a season until the Man of Steel, Rickey Henderson, beat it, I believe. But Lou Brock in 1975 with the St. Louis Cardinals, he was an outfielder. It says on the back here, the major's all-time single-season stolen base champion, had another fine year in 75. Let's see. Despite turning 36 in midseason, he hit 309. He also had 56 more stolen bases. Let's see. He broke Maury Will's 1962 mark when he stole 118 in 74, which was an incredible number. You really didn't think that was going to be broken. And then Ricky Henderson came along and did it. So Lou Brock, great Hall of Famer there. Excited to have that card. That should be a pretty good find. Centering isn't too bad on that one either. Doesn't look perfect from the way I see it, but certainly not so bad that it's a negative, right? So, all right, let's continue on. 276, first baseman and outfielder, Ron Fairley. 277, outfielder, Arnold Ray Bake McBride. 278, first baseman, outfielder, Reggie Smith. 279, outfielder, Bill Davis. Willie Davis, as he's better known. 280, third baseman, Ken Wrights. Lots of hair going on there. 281, outfielder, traded to the Chicago White Sox later in the year, Buddy Bradford. 282, outfielder, Luis Antonio Melendez. 283, infielder, St. Louis Cardinals, number 10, the original Mike Tyson right there. This Mike Tyson looks like he's got bad intentions and is not someone I want to mess with either. Just like the Mike Tyson in the boxing world. He looks like he's ready to brawl. All right. 284, second baseman, Ted Sizemore. 285, shortstop, Mario Guerrero. 286, infielder, Larry Lintz. Love the alliteration there. 287, catcher, Ken Rudolph. 288, catcher, Richard Arlen Billings. Look at that high hat on him. Holy cow. 289, outfielder, Jerry Mumphrey. 290, pitcher, Michael Wallace. Not the Mike Wallace from 60 Minutes. 291, relief pitcher, Alan Hrabowski. Look at that dude. Whoo! I don't want to fight with him either. That dude looks like he could kick some tail. 292, pitcher, Ken Reynolds. 293, relief pitcher, Mike Garman. 294, pitcher, Bob Forsch. 295, pitcher, John Denny. 296, pitcher, Harold Rasmussen. 297, pitcher, Lynn McLaughlin. 298, traded to the Houston Astros late in the year, pitcher, Mike Barlow. 299, pitcher, traded to the Chicago White Sox late in the year, Greg Terlecki. And then we've got some orange coming up on the checklist. Who are we looking for here? Card number 300, we are looking for Albert Fred, better known as Red Schoendeist. There he is, folks. We got another Hall of Famer. Hit that Hall of Fame music. Look at that Redbirds jacket he's wearing. Red Schoendeist, legendary player and manager. Great hit there out of our Hall of Famers. Let's take a look at the back on this one a little bit. See what they have to say about Red Schoendeist. Second senior manager and point of continuous service in the majors. Red completed his 11th season at the St. Louis Helm in 75. He won 2 pennants and brought 6 of his clubs to first division finishes. As a player, he was a top fielding and good hitting second baseman, ending with a .289 average in 2,216 games over 19 seasons with the Cardinals, Giants, and Braves. He led the NL second sackers in fielding 7 times, a record, led the league with 26 steals, and hit 307 times. He fought back from tuberculosis in 1959 to become a top pinch hitter, a Cardinal coach in 63-64. So we are almost halfway through our set, and we are 2 hours in. I don't know if I think the longest show I've done is a little over 3 hours. We might hit the 4-hour mark on this. I'm having a great time going through these cards. I hope you are too. The great thing about going through a set like this is no matter what team you're a fan of, you're probably going to hear some names that take you back to your childhood and trigger some good memories of baseball back in the day when you were a kid. And I love that. And so does Stuart. We are going to take a quick break here. We'll give you a chance to do what you need to do as well. And then we are going to come back, and it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, we are going to jump into the Chicago Cubs when we get back. So I hope you're enjoying the ride. Thank you for hanging in there with us. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the break, took care of some business, got rejuvenated, because we are ready for the next half of our vintage exploration of our 1976 SSPC baseball cards. We're about to dive into the Chicago Cubs. We've gone through 300 cards on this 630 card set. And I am ready to go with card 301. Are you still with me, Stu? He's still with me. It's been a fun journey so far. I got to see my Milwaukee Brewers. That was a trip down memory lane. We're not doing too bad on our Hall of Famers. We had a couple of key names pulled out, 2 of which were my Milwaukee Brewers, Robin Yount and Hank Aaron. That hurt a little bit. But we still have the majority of our Hall of Famers in this set. Condition is great. The only thing we've identified is, we lost 1 card with a crease. And then the only other issue that we've identified so far is some centering issues, which is not that uncommon in vintage sets, from what I understand. So I hope you're enjoying us. I know I'm having a lot of fun cruising right along here. Let's jump into our Chicago Cubs. I'll bring the card cam back. There we go. So up first, we're on 301, and we've got an uncorrected error on this one somewhere in the back. Just looking through this, boy, it doesn't really jump out to me. I'd have to research what it is, but this is Chicago Cubs pitcher, card number 301, Chicago Cubs number 48, Ricky Eugene Russell. There he is, Ricky Russell. Then we're going to follow that up with card number 302, which is Cubs pitcher Steve Stone. I wonder if Bo down at 1 Million Cubs needs any of these cards. I'll have to check with him on that. Then we've got card 303, Cubs pitcher, number 33, Bill Bonham. Look at that hair, those flowing locks. Card number 304 is relief pitcher Oscar Joseph Zamora. He's very happy to be there. Card number 305 is pitcher Ken Frailing. Card number 306, pitcher Milton Edward Wilcox. More hair flowing there freely. 307, relief pitcher Daryl Knowles. He's got a collared shirt on under there. How often do you see a baseball pitcher with a popped collar? I don't know that I've seen that before. That's pretty impressive. Card number 308, Chicago Cubs manager Jim Marshall. Do you know what Jim Marshall's actual given name is? Anyone? Any guesses? Any guesses? All right, I gave you a chance to take a guess at it. Rufus James Marshall, better known as Jim. I don't know how I would feel about the name Rufus. It's not one I hear a lot anymore. All right, card 309, third baseman Bill Madlock Jr. I believe he was an All-Star and won the All-Star MVP, co-winner of the All-Star MVP. Card 310 is an outfielder, Jose Cardenal, number 1 for the Cubs. Card 311 is outfielder Rick Monday. Did that say senior? Oh, it's a junior. Rick Monday Jr. For a second there, I thought it said senior, and I was like, that isn't something I see a lot of. Rick Monday Jr. I almost said senior again. All right. 312 outfielder Jerry Morales. 313 catcher Tim Hosley. 314 outfielder Gene Heiser. 315 shortstop Don Kessinger. You know, the other nice thing about a set like this is no duplicates. 316 second baseman Manny Trio. 317 outfielder first baseman Pete Lecoq Jr. 318 catcher George Mitterwald. 319 catcher Steve Swisher. 320 infielder Robert Sparing. 321 second baseman and outfielder traded to St. Louis December 1975 Vic Harris. 322 infielder Ron Dunn. 323 catcher first baseman Jose Morales. 324 second baseman Peter McCannon Jr. Gosh, there's a lot of juniors in Major League Baseball in 1975. 325 infielder Jim Cox. 326 third baseman. Oh, you know what? We transitioned to the Montreal Expos, and I didn't even call that out. Let's see. There we go. We'll get our Expos set up, and we'll say goodbye to our Cubs. Cubs. As a Brewers fan, I'm okay saying goodbye to the Cubs. All right, 326, third baseman for the Montreal Expos, Larry Parrish. 327, first baseman, outfielder for the Expos, Mike Jorgensen. 328, shortstop, Montreal Expos, Tim Foley. Number 19 on the bat. Did he get the right one? What's his number? 19. He's got his own bat. That's good to see that he's not taking others. 329. First baseman, Montreal, number 23, Harold Breeden. Number 330, first baseman for the Expos, Nate Colbert Jr. Card 331, Montreal Expos, number 38, infielder, outfielder, Jesus Maria Pepe Frias. Card 332, Montreal infielder, number 42, Pat Scanlon. Card 333, Cincinnati Reds, number 3. After being traded from the Montreal Expos late in the year, Bob Bailey. He looks happy. I wonder if he heard the news about the trade as they took his photo. 334, Gary Carter, Hall of Famer. No. I know Gary Carter. That is not Gary Carter. I have quite a few Gary Carter fans, or cards, I should say. I am a fan. This is, in fact, card 335, Pepe Manuel. We lost out on Gary Carter. Gary Carter, of course, Hall of Famer. We did not get. He was also a rookie that year. So that would have been a doubly nice card to get that Gary Carter. But it has been pilfered. But we do have Pepe Manuel. All right, moving on. Card 336, Montreal Expos, number 17, outfielder, Larry Bittner. Card 337, outfielder, Jim Little Jr. Look at that chaw, man. Whew, he's got a lot of chaw in there. 338, third baseman and outfielder, Gary Roenicke. Related to Ron Roenicke? I don't know. Spelled the same, I think. Gary Roenicke, Ron Roenicke. I don't know. I might have to check that out a little bit more. Is that his brother? 339, outfielder, Anthony Scott. Also known as Tony. 340, outfielder, Montreal Expos, number 37, Jerry White. Card 341, outfielder, Jim Dwyer. Card 342, outfielder, Ellis Valentine. Card 343, pitcher, Fred Sherman Jr. Card 344, pitcher, Dennis Blair. Card 345, pitcher, Woodrow Fryman, also known as Woody. Card 346, relief pitcher, Chuck Taylor. Card 347, pitcher, Daniel Warfin. Card 348, pitcher, Don Carruthers. 349, pitcher, Steve Captain America Rogers. Card 350, relief pitcher, Dale Murray. I see orange on my checklist. Card 351, Duke Snyder. That looks like Duke Snyder. Looks like he is a coach at this point for the Montreal Expos. What do we have? Card 351, Edwin Donald Duke Snyder, Hall of Famer, hitting instructor, and he certainly knew how to hit. All right, so we are back on track with our Hall of Famers. We got back on track with Duke Snyder. Duke has always been a cool baseball name as well. And that completes our Montreal Expos. Moving on to our Detroit Tigers, we've got card 352, Ralph Hawk. Ralph Hawk? Yeah, Ralph Hawk. He is the manager of the Detroit Tigers. Card 353, we've got relief pitcher John Hiller. Card 354, pitcher Mike Lulich. He doesn't need a hat. Card 355, pitcher David Lemancic. Card 356, pitcher Laren Harris Legros. Card 357, pitcher Fred Arroyo. Card 358, pitcher Joe Coleman. Card 359, outfielder, first baseman. This one's interesting. It looks like we have a little bit of debris on the back. We've got future Milwaukee Brewer in the 82 World Series chase, Ben Ogilvy. Little bit of a condition issue. There's something on the back there, and it's chunky. I think it's a bug. I'm pretty sure that's a bug. I'm going to have to see what I can do to take that off. Oh, yeah, it doesn't want to come off. That is kind of gross. To be honest, I don't know that Ben Ogilvy has a lot of value, so that one may not make it out the door. All right, 360. We've got designated hitter Willie Horton warming up in the warm-up jacket. 361, infielder, Detroit Tigers number 2, John Knox. Card 362, outfielder, Leon Roberts. Card 363, outfielder, Ronald LaFleur. Card 364, second baseman, Gary Sutherland. Card 365, first baseman and outfielder, Dan Meyer. Card 366, third baseman, Aurelio Rodriguez. He looks very happy to be there. Card 367, shortstop, Detroit Tigers number 7, Tom Verizor. Card 368, first baseman, Laverne Pierce. Card 369, shortstop, Eugene Michael. 2 names again. We're back to the 2 names. He looks to me, looking at this image, I see, who is that country star that does movies now? I think he was in Friday Night Lights. Dwight Yoakam. That to me looks like Dwight Yoakam on a bad day. Card 370. We are up to 370. Closing in on 400. We've got outfielder Billy Baldwin. 371, outfielder Willie Brown. Actually, he goes by Gates Brown. Look at that. Checklist lists him as Gates Brown. William James Gates Brown. Interesting. Gates. Hi, I'm Gates. I play ball. 372, outfield, first baseman, Mickey Stanley. Traded to the Houston Astros in the 75 season. We've got catcher, Gene Humphrey. Really, he goes by Terry Humphrey. His given name is Tyrial. So I kind of jumped to an assumption that he went by Gene, but I guess he went by Terry. I'll go with Terry Humphrey. Congratulations on making the major leagues, Terry. Card 374, pitcher. The back of this is interesting. They were traded to the Baltimore Orioles. This is Doyle Alexander, and I'm not sure what this means. Pitcher pounds. I think that's a little bit of a misprint because the pounds is on the wrong line, but it makes for an interesting card. Interesting also, it's not flagged for an uncorrected error, but it probably should be. There's Doyle, nice feathered hair there. Card 375, pitcher Mike Cuellar. I'm struggling to pronounce that one. Cuellar. Cuellar. Pilar? I don't know. I don't know on that one. Someone's going to have to correct me. 376 relief pitcher, Baltimore Orioles. You know what? I don't think we got traded to the Orioles. We changed teams. Yeah, we changed teams from the Tigers, and I didn't catch it. We are in the Baltimore Orioles for reals now. All right, so we had these two. Up next, we got card 376, Baltimore Orioles, number 17, relief pitcher, Marcus Garland. Card 377, pitcher, Ross Grimsley III. Card 378, relief pitcher, Grant Jackson. Grant Jackson. Card 379, Dyer K. Miller. Dyer Miller. Up next, we have orange on the checklist. Card 380, Jim James Alvin Palmer. We got him. We got Jim Palmer. That's a huge hit for us. He is Hall of Famer. He was the 1975 season ERA leader with a 2.09 ERA. He was a 1975 season leader in wins in a tie with Catfish Hunter with 23 wins. And he led the league in shutouts with 10 shutouts. And he was an all-star. Jim Palmer was the man for the Baltimore Orioles in 1975. And we got him. We've got more Orioles. Card 381, Mike Torres. 382, pitcher, Mike Willis. 383, catcher, Dave Duncan. 384, catcher, Elrod Jerome Hendricks. Also known as Ellie Hendricks. 385, catcher, Jim Huddle Jr. 386, shortstop, Robert Michael Baylor. 387, infielder, rookie, Doug DeCences. We got a rookie. We got Doug DeCences. Centering looks pretty good. Condition looks great. Let's take a look at the back. Look at that. Heir apparent to the great Brooks Robinson, Doug spent all of 75 with the Orioles after only brief stints with the big league club in 73 and 74. So his rookie status, what do you call it? He met his rookie limits in 75. He hit 251 in 61 games with 6 doubles, 3 triples, 4 homers, and 23 RBI while showing ability in the field. Especially adept at third, he's also played at second and short and filled in at those positions for the O's in 75. Baltimore signed him in 70, and he had 2 fine years at Rochester in 73 and 74. His first big league hit drove in the winning RBI against Milwaukee, 9/13/73. Very nice. Doug DeCences rookie card. He had a pretty decent career in the major leagues. He did not make the Hall of Fame, but he was pretty solid as an infielder, and he hung around for a number of years. All right, moving on. Number 388, second baseman, Bob Gritch. Number 389, first baseman, Lee May. Number 390, first baseman and outfielder, Baltimore Orioles, number 16, Anthony Muser. 391, infielder, Tim Nordbrook. 392, the aforementioned Brooks Robinson, Hall of Famer. Wait, That doesn't look like Brooks Robinson to me. Who do we got here? That's card 393, Royal Stillman. Looks like Brooks Robinson was pilfered from the set before we got to it. So we got, let's see, we got Jim Palmer, we got Duke Snyder, but we missed out on Brooks Robinson and Gary Carter. Unfortunate, but it happens. So we'll move ahead with 393 Royce. Is it Royce or Royal? Royal Stillman. That's very regal. Royal Stillman. Card 394, outfielder and first baseman is a name I think many of you will know. Don Edward Baylor. Another guy that turned his playing career into some managerial careers. Don Baylor. Card 395, outfielder Paul L.D. Blair. Look at that. That's a nice baseball shot. Card 396, outfielder Alonzo Benjamin Al Bumbry. Card 397, outfielder Larry Harlow. Card 398, designated hitter Tommy Davis Jr. Is that really junior? That is a junior. Interesting. I don't know why. Out of the corner of my eye, I keep seeing what I think is senior instead of junior. And even though that would be weird to show a senior, I keep feeling like I see it there. All right. Card 399. We've got outfielder Jim Northrup. Look at that hair. Card 400, folks. We made it to 400. We've got outfielder Kenny Singleton. And we've got one more Baltimore Oriole. We've got outfielder and catcher. Card number 401, Tom Shope. All right. Up next, we've got some Boston Red Sox. Let's see if we can power through to card 500, huh? All right, up first. Let's see, our last card was 401. We're looking for card 402, and we are looking for Fred Lynn. Fred Lynn. That is not Fred Lynn. Interesting. Fred Lynn is not in there. Card 402, Fred Lynn is not in there. But does anybody know who this is? Boston Red Sox fans, I bet you know who it is. I certainly know who it is. I remember some iconic moments of him trying to push a ball fair, hitting a ball deep into the left field seats, trying to push it fair. That is none other than Hall of Famer Carlton Ernest Fisk. That's right. Hall of Famer Carlton Fisk. Boston Red Sox great. We got him. He's in the set for us. They left him. Again, I don't understand why, for example, why did Fred Lynn go, but not Carlton Fisk? I would imagine any baseball fan knows Carlton Fisk. Look at the quality of that card. That looks amazing. That is pretty well centered. That is a candidate for grading, I think. It's not, it's not his rookie card or anything, but that is a solid example of a 1975 Carlton Fisk. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. All right. Up next, a guy I have an affinity for because he again was on that 1982 Milwaukee Brewers team that saw my only World Series for my team. We have card 404, Cecil Celester Cooper. He had some good years for the Boston Red Sox before he went to the Brewers, and he continued that. He was a great hitter, consistently hit above 300, I believe. He was a great add to my Milwaukee Brewers teams. That's for sure. That is for sure. All right, I see some orange coming up next. Card 405. Oh, boy. Boston Red Sox, Hall of Famer, and this is his rookie card. Outfielder, Boston number 14, James Edward Rice. Yeah, we hit it. That's a big one, folks. Jim Rice does pretty well out there. I've sold a few Jim Rice cards in the past. Never his rookie card from 1975. Centering looks good on that. Condition looks great. I see no obvious defects to it. The back looks nice and clean. So coming off batting championships in the Eastern and International Leagues in 73 and 74, it's showtime for Jim Rice up to the big show for the Boston Red Sox. That is exciting, folks. I am pretty happy they left me that Jim Rice card. I will definitely do something with that. All right, card 406, DH and outfielder, Juan Jose Beniquez. Card 407, second baseman, Denny Doyle. He looks a little amused. Card 408, outfielder, Dwight Evans. Card 409, I see orange, Carl Yastrzemski, the Yaz. Oh boy. That does not look like Carl Yastrzemski. I've seen Carl Yastrzemski. That is not him. This is Richard Paul Burleson, card 410. Somebody grabbed the Carl Yastrzemski on us. But you know what? It's okay. We got the Jim Rice. We got the Carlton Fisk. We got Jim Palmer. We got Duke Snider. We missed out on the Yaz. And we missed out on Brooks Robinson. All right. Well, thank you, Richard Paul Burleson. Card number 410. Let's get back on track then. Card 411. Bernardo Carbo, outfielder, Boston Red Sox. Looks like he's got something on his mind. Card 412, second baseman, Douglas Lee Griffin Jr. Card 413, third baseman, Americo Petrocelli. Card 414, catcher, Bob Montgomery. Card 415, catcher, Tim Blackwell. Card 416, outfielder, Rick Miller. Card 417, manager, Daryl Johnson. Card 418, Boston Red Sox pitcher number 43, Jim Burton, coming at you. Card 419, another pitcher, relief pitcher, Jim Willoughby. Card 420, pitcher, Roger Moray. Card 421, pitcher, Bill Francis Lee, the second. Is it the second or the third? The third. I almost cut out one of the Bills. One of the Bill Francis. There we go. Man, it seems like there's a lot of Red Sox in here. 422, pitcher, Dick Drago. Card 423, relief pitcher, Diego Segui. Card 424, this is a guy I've sold before too. He's not a Hall of Famer. He does have a lot of recognition. He takes really good pictures. He's got good facial hair. Luis Tiant, Boston Red Sox. Look at that. And that completes our Boston Red Sox. That's a pretty good stack. Look at that. That's a lot of Red Sox in there. But you know who's next? You know what team is next? It's only fitting. The New York Yankees are next. We got to have some Yankees. The Yankees have a huge fan base. A lot of collectors love the Yankees as well. Another good, let's see, thick stack here. Yeah, look at that. So I see some orange to start off our Yankees. Do we have them? We're looking for card 425, Jim Catfish Hunter. That looks like a catfish to me. That's the Catfish Hunter I remember. What do we know about Catfish Hunter? Well, he's a Hall of Famer. We got another Hall of Famer on our list. We know that Catfish Hunter tied with Jim Palmer for the league lead in wins with 23. We know that he was in the All-Star game. And we know that he would go on to be a pretty dominant pitcher for a number of years. I'm going to take a quick drink here. Ooh, that's some good coffee. So happy to get a Catfish Hunter. That is awesome. I feel like there's something more about this one, though. Let's see. No, he's not a rookie. I feel like I'm forgetting to call out something about Jim Catfish Hunter. Aside from one of the best nicknames of all times in baseball. All right, let's carry on after our Hall of Famer Jim Hunter. We've got card 426, Rick Sawyer, pitcher for the Yankees. We got card 427, pitcher Rudy May Jr. We've got pitcher card 428, New York Yankees, number 19, Richard Tidrow. Look at that hair and stash, man. Very nice. We've got card 429, relief pitcher Albert Walter, better known as Sparky Lyle. Nice card there. Card 430, pitcher George Francis, another nickname guy, Doc Medich. Doc Medich. Very cool picture there, too. There's a whole series of pitchers that try to look intimidating. And you think of, for me, I think of Randy Johnson as number one with that kind of attitude. But it looks like Doc Medich was not a guy to be messed with either. When I think about my Milwaukee Brewers, I think of Pete Vukovich. All right, moving on. 431, pitcher Pat Dobson Jr. I'm not sure what he's doing there, but I love this card. That is classic to this set. That is an amazing pose. All right, 432, pitcher David Pagan. Card 433. This is a favorite of Yankees fans. Catcher Thurman Lee Munson. Leader of the Yankees through those 70s. He was the captain before Derek Jeter was the captain, right? Thurman Munson was a top-notch leader. Career cut short too soon, if I recall. But very cool to get a Thurman Munson. Rocking the beard there. This one should have plenty of people interested in it. Looks like we have a little bit of that left to right centering issue back again, but just the slightest bit. Top and bottom look pretty good. Overall, that's a really nice card. All right. 434, first baseman, Carol Christopher Chambly. Went by Chris, did not go by Carol. 435, outfielder, Roy White. 436, outfielder, Walt Williams. He's very happy to be there. 437, third baseman, Greg Nettles. I sold one of his cards once. It was an insert from like archives. It was kind of a mini size, maybe 3/4 size, and it was a decal edge. It was a very cool card. 438, Rick Dempsey, catcher and outfielder for the New York Yankees. Card 439, traded to the California Angels, outfielder Bobby Bonds. Card 440, catcher Ed Herman. Card 441, second baseman Santos Alomar. Card 442, shortstop Fred Stanley. Card 443, outfielder Terry Bertland Whitfield. Card 444, outfielder. Let me see what he went by. Let's see what his nickname is. Okay. Outfielder Rich Black. Black. That's an interesting name. 445, outfielder Lou Piniella. Everybody knows Lou Piniella. Managed the Yankees, had a great career with the Kansas City Royals before the Yankees. All around good baseball guy. I'm surprised he's not in the Hall of Fame. Maybe that's coming yet though, right? Like maybe the door's not closed for him. But nice to get a Lou Piniella card in there. I think I'll have no problem finding a buyer for that as well. Looks pretty well centered. 446. Outfielder, Rich Coggins. 447, infielder, Ed Brinkman. 448, shortstop, Jim Mason. 449, outfielder, Larry Murray. 449 was Larry Murray. So 450, designated hitter outfielder for your New York Yankees, number 12, Ron Blumberg. 451, outfielder, Elliot Maddox. Get that in line. 452, outfielder, Kerry Dineen. 453, we've got a manager, someone I remember fondly. I did not know his full name, though. Manager, New York Yankees, number 1, was a manager and was also a player for the Yankees. Alfred Manuel Billy Martin. That one should go as well. Little more of a centering issue on that one with Billy Martin. You can see that left-hand border is pretty off-center on that one, unfortunately. But the rest of the card condition is fantastic. So I have no doubt I will find a buyer for that. Card 454, outfielder, first baseman, Dave Bergman. Card 455, our last New York Yankee, infielder, outfielder, Otoniel Velez. Not familiar with Velez. Somebody will have to tell me about his great feats of athletic prowess on the diamond. All right, that's our New York Yankees. We're moving on to our Philadelphia Phillies next. How do we feel about the Phillies? We ready to dive into them? Let's see. We got a good stack of Phillies in here, too. Look at that. Yeah. Phillies. All right. So, we are going to start with card 456. We've got a relief pitcher, and this is another one of those fun pictures. Phillies number 43, Joe Horner, rocking the straw hat. Classic image there. That might be one of those iconic cards that people want just for the straw hat, because that is not your typical baseball hat. So really cool to see that one. That is an iconic card from the set. I know people have talked about that one. 456. Nope, that Joe Horner was 456. This is 457. Relief pitcher, Frank Edwin Tug McGraw Jr. Pretty popular player there in Tug McGraw as well. I think he did some broadcasting after his playing career ended. 458, relief pitcher, Gene Garber. And then I see some orange coming up. Orange on my checklist means we should have a Hall of Famer coming up. We are looking for card number 459, Steve Carlton. I do not remember his face real well. I don't know. Is that Steve Carlton? Do we need some hip-hop horns to announce we've got a Hall of Famer? I don't know. We're going to have to check the back. Card 459, Stephen Norman Carlton, Hall of Famer. We hit one. Excellent to see Steve Carlton in there. I remember him being one of the greats of the game. I just don't remember him specifically as in terms of, seeing his image a whole lot. But we are back on track with some Hall of Famers. We had Jim Hunter last, Catfish Jim Hunter. And now we've got Steve Carlton. Pretty good looking card there as well. Centered really nice. Look at those sideburns. Steve Carlton rocking the sideburns. Wow. That is a very nice card. All right, up next we got 460 pitcher Larry Christensen. So what's nice about that, look at the centering difference. The very next card is very off center. But Steve Carlton, ooh, thank me, Lucky Charms. I think we got a good one there. Look at that. Whew. All right. 461 pitcher Tom Underwood. 462 pitcher James Lonborg. Card 463 outfielder John William J. Johnstone Jr. Card 464 shortstop Philadelphia Phillies number 10. I believe Philadelphia Phillies fans would say he's a Phillies great. Larry Boa also went on to a managerial career. Very nice card there. Centered really nice. Clean. No damage. A little bit of extra centering towards the top. I just noticed that now. So that is not going to be a perfect example. But well within the boundaries of a really good card. 465 second baseman Dave Cash Jr. All-Star that year, I believe. Let me see. Yep, there he is. Dave Cash. All-Star 1975. Card 466. Outfielder Ollie Brown. Card 467. Outfielder Greg Luzinski. I believe Luzinski was an all-star as well. Checking my list. I remember Luzinski. Where is he? Dave Cash, Madlock. Larry Bowa was an all-star too. We didn't call that out before. Yep, there he is. Greg Luzinski, all-star, 1975. Is he number 19? He's got another bat with a number 19. He sure is number 19. Good to see he's not stealing somebody else's bat. I didn't like that as a player myself. Leave my bat alone. Unless I tell you you can use it and offer it up, don't take my bat. 468 catcher Johnny Oates, who faced off with Kurt Bavecchia in the Bubblegum Championships. That hair almost looks like earmuffs over his ears. 469 outfielder Mike Anderson. Then we've got some orange coming up on the checklist. One of my favorite players when I was young. Still an iconic player today. Number 470, Michael Jack Schmidt. And that looks like an image match. That is Mike Schmidt all the way. Unfortunately, a little off center. The centering is not great on that card. Very heavily skewed to the left. A little bit to the top as well. But great condition otherwise. Michael Jack Schmidt, third baseman, Philadelphia Phillies, number 20. Mike started slowly in 75. Phil's fans feared the worst. They remembered all too well his 196 average as a 1973 rookie. However, in midseason, Mike started to hit and ended the year as the major's home run champ for the second year in a row. He finished at 249 with 34 doubles, 3 triples, and 38 home runs. 95 RBI, 29 stolen bases too. I did not recall him stealing bases a lot, but 29 is respectable. His superb fielding ability and tremendous speed are overlooked by his slugging. Well, I would agree with that since I obviously overlooked it. The Phils signed him in 71 and brought him up in 73. He started slugging in 74 with 36 homers and 116 RBI, has 73 doubles, 10 triples, 93 homers, 266 RBIs, and a 248 average. So, yeah, I knew he was a good fielder. I didn't know he had the speed to steal bases. I honestly didn't. That's a miss on my part. Not great centering on that one, but that is a desirable card. I think I will find a buyer for that without much of an effort. All right. What else we got here? Card 471, catcher Bob Boone. Went on to a managerial career as well. He's got a good fan base. 472, first baseman and outfielder Tom Hutton. There you go, Tom. 473 is first baseman Dick Allen. Dick Allen had a tremendous career. I think he is regarded as a Phillies legend as well. 474 infielder Antonio Tony Taylor. 475 outfielder Jerry Martin. Manager of the Philadelphia Phillies Dan Ozark. I love the Letterman's jacket there. I wish I still had my high school Letterman's jacket. You just don't see him anymore. And even though it would be super vintage, that was a cool jacket to have. Moving on, 477 pitcher Dick Ruthven, and that is our Philadelphia Phillies in our 1976 SSPC set. That brings us up next is the Oakland A's, and you may remember the Oakland A's were somewhat of a powerhouse in the 70s. They did not win in 75. The Cincinnati Reds won against the Boston Red Sox, but the A's won like 4 times in the 70s, I believe. So we should have some pretty good players here in the A's as well. We will kick it off with card 478, relief pitcher James Todd Jr. 479, relief pitcher Paul Lindblad. And then I see orange on our checklist. One of my favorite players of all time. I still reference him when I talk baseball. Number 480, Raleigh Fingers. Do we have a Raleigh Fingers? Oh, yeah. You can't mistake those handlebar mustache twirls. It's interesting he wasn't the saves leader that year, but Raleigh Fingers was a heck of a pitcher. Came to my Brewers for the 82 season as well. Helped get us to the World Series. Hall of Famer, we've got another one. Roland Glenn Fingers. Put together another remarkable season for the A's in 75 with 24 saves. So he was just off the lead by 4 saves. Very nice card. Centering's a little off. Not horrible, but I can notice it's a little bit off. So it's not going to likely be like a PSA 10. But very nice card. Definitely will be some buyers interested in that. So we've got, for our Hall of Famers now, we've got Fingers, we've got Schmidt, and we've got Carlton. We've got Catfish Hunter. We're on a nice streak here. All right, card 481, Vida Blue Jr. I do recall Vida Blue is solid pitcher. 482 is Ken Holtzman, another pitcher. 483 pitcher, Dick Bossman. 484, Sonny Siebert. 485 pitcher, William Abbott. Goes by Glenn Abbott. Card 486, we've got pitcher Stan Bosson. Card 487, pitcher Mike Norris. Card 488, ex-manager. So apparently them not making the World Series in 75 resulted in some changes. We've got Oakland A's former manager Alvin Dark. Maybe next time, Alvin. Card 489, outfielder Claudell Washington. Card 490, first baseman, outfielder Joe Rudy. Card 491, outfielder Bill North, everybody. Bill North. Card 492 shortstop for the Oakland A's, number 19, number 1 in your hearts, Bert Campaneris. That is a nice pull as well. Bert Campaneris, not in the Hall of Fame, but a name that is pretty well recognized. It's a decent card. The top centering is a little off, unfortunately, but I am certain I'll find a buyer for that one as well. Number 493, catcher first baseman. I got to show the back of this card to see his full name. Fury Gene Tennis. I think he went just by Gene Tennis, but Fury is his first name. It makes me think about Boys in the Hood, because wasn't the dad in Boys in the Hood named Furious Styles? Fury Gene Tennis. That is a name. Oh my goodness. That's a name I got to put in the record books to think about for future names. Maybe if I get a dog, I'll call him Fury. All right. So next up, I see some orange. We're going to be looking for 494 outfielder Reggie Jackson. No, that is not Reggie Jackson. It is a decent card, though. That is rookie Phil Scrap Iron Garner. Nice rookie card there, centered pretty well. A little bit off top to bottom, but looks like Reggie Jackson is missing for us because we jumped right to 495 Phil Garner. So Reggie Jackson is an iconic player that I would have loved to have had, but it looks like he's been pulled out, pilfered from us. All right, moving on. 496 designated hitter. We do have Billy Williams, Hall of Famer. So we missed out on Reggie Jackson, but we do have Hall of Famer Billy Williams. Not a bad pull, if I do say so myself. This one's a little off center too, but hey, any Hall of Famer is a good pull, right? Very nice, especially when it's their actual playing days, right? Like I could pull a Billy Williams today out of 2024 Topps, and it would just be like a legend card, and it doesn't have the same impact as pulling a Billy Williams from his playing days. I don't know. He wasn't on a retired list after 75. He played a number of more years. Pretty popular player. I hear about him every once in a while. Billy Williams, everybody. Card 497, third baseman and captain of the Oakland A's, eventually became a general manager for my Milwaukee Brewers. We've got Sal Bando, everybody. Sal Bando. Card 497, first baseman, Jim Holt. Card 499, infielder, Teodoro Noel Ted Martinez. He looks a little surprised at the picture. Card 500. We're at the 500 mark, folks. Ray Fosse, catcher for the Cleveland Indians. Why is he mixed in with the A's, I wonder? Yeah. Cleveland Indian mixed in with the A's. I've still got 3 more A's to go, and we got a Ray Fosse in there. Card 501, infielder, outfielder, Matt Alexander. Card 502, catcher, Wallace Larry Haney, better known as Larry Haney. Card 503, outfielder, Angel Manuel. We came across that name earlier. I think he was an all-star. Why did we talk about him? Manuel. Looking through my list. Bert Campaneris and Vita Blue were both all-stars that year. We didn't call that out. George Scott was an all-star that year. I don't think we called him out either. Gene Tennis was an all-star. Craig Nettles was an all-star. We didn't call them out. Let's see. Tug McGraw was an all-star. Greg. There. No, that's Manny Sanguian. That's Sanguian. That's a different guy. He wasn't an all-star. I don't know why I thought I saw his name earlier. But anyway, that takes us through our Oakland A's. I hope you enjoyed your Oakland A's throwback to the 1975 season with our 1976 SSPC cards. Fun story on this. They were kind of the Mavericks when Topps dominated the market in the 70s for baseball cards. And they decided they were going to go and print their own cards without all that gingerbread. They just wanted basic images, straightforward cards, just like the 53 Bowmans, because that was their favorite set. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to get into the Cleveland Indians, as they were known at that time. Now the Cleveland Guardians. And we're going to go with 504 relief pitcher Fred Bean, everybody. Fred Bean. 505 relief pitcher Tom Buskey. 507. Well, I think we jumped ahead here, right? We did. Oh my gosh, there's some orange on the checklist. We were looking for Dennis Eckersley here. That is not Dennis Eckersley. That is Tom Buskey. And this is Rorik Edward Harrison. So no Dennis Eckersley. Someone pulled Eck out. It was also Eck's rookie card, so I could see why someone would grab that. Unfortunately, we missed out on another Hall of Famer. The Eck is gone. The Eck has left the building. Well, we did get Billy Williams. We got a nice run on Raleigh Fingers, Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton. There's a few more Hall of Famers in this set, though, for us to see if we got them. So we missed out on Eck. Let's see what else we can find. 508 pitcher Don Hood. 509 pitcher Jim Kern. 510 Dave LaRoche. Look at that. Look at that cap to the side. That is impressive. I like that. Card 511 pitcher Fritz Peterson. Card 512 Jim Strickland, pitcher. Card 513 pitcher Rick Waits. Card 514 catcher and third baseman Alan Ashby, everybody. Card 515 catcher and first baseman John Ellis. 516 catcher Rick Cerrone. Card 517 third baseman Buddy Bell. Had a great career, Buddy Bell did. 518 infielder John Anthony Brohammer Jr. Card 519 designated hitter Rico Carty. 520 infielder Ed Crosby. 521 shortstop Frank Duffy. 522 second baseman Dwayne Kuiper. 523 first base and outfielder Joe Lease. Yeah, Dolly Parton made a song about him, I guess. I didn't know that. Dad jokes. I can't help with the bad dad jokes. Like, my kids are used to it. You're probably not yet. Card 524, first baseman. This is a nice one. I think everybody knows this player. He's not in the Hall of Fame. But he came to fame with Baltimore. They thought he was washed up, and he resurfaced with the Cleveland Indians. Number 26, Boog Powell. Looks like he's in his last couple seasons here. Looks like he's got some miles on him, but still bringing something to the table. Up next on the checklist, I see orange, number 525, Frank Robinson Hall of Famer. That looks like Frank Robinson. I believe we got him. I believe he's a manager in this photo. Yep, manager Frank Robinson, Cleveland Indians, number 20. He had a lot of success with Baltimore as well, I think, as a player. And the strength of his Hall of Fame career was probably as a player. So we hit on another Hall of Famer to go with Billy Williams. And get us back on track after we missed out on Dennis Eckersley. 526 is an outfielder I'm somewhat familiar with. He was traded to the New York Yankees, and I remember him playing with the Yankees. Oscar Gamble, look at that hair. I don't know how you keep a hat on your head when your hair is that big. Card 527, outfielder George Hendrick. 528, outfielder, infielder, John Lowenstein. Card 529, outfielder, Rick Manning. Card 530, outfielder, Tommy Smith. Card 531, outfielder, Charlie Spikes. I wonder if he slid head first or feet first in the second base. Card 532, pitcher Steve Klein. And that concludes our Cleveland Indians for today. Let's see. That was card 532. We have 100 cards left to go. Are you still with us? Are you going to make it for the last 100 cards? Are you hanging in there? Stu is. He's still here. He never gives up on us. He's always with us. All right. So we're going to move on to the New York Metropolitans next. In card number 533. Let's kick it over to the card cam. We've got 533, first baseman, outfielder, Ed Kranepool. 534, outfielder, Mike Vail. 535, outfielder, Delbert Bernard Unser. 536, second baseman, Felix Milan. 537, outfielder, traded to the Detroit Tigers, number 10, Rusty Staub, another great hitter. 538, outfielder, Jesus Maria Rojas Alu. 539, third baseman, Ron Garrett. Better known as Wayne Garrett, Ronald Wayne Garrett. 540, infielder, Mike Phillips, everybody. And then I see some orange on the checklist as I look over. We're looking for 541, Joe Torre. And we got him, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty well off-centered to the left here, but we got a nice Joe Torre, Hall of Famer, still in his playing days. He was a first baseman, third baseman, Joseph Paul Torre, 6'1", 200, bats right, throws right, number 9 for your New York Mets. Nice Hall of Famer card. So now we're back on track. We got Frank Robinson, we got Joe Torre. Can we get the next one on the list as well? We got 542, outfielder, first baseman, third baseman, prolific hitter, Dave Kingman. 543, outfielder, Eugene Kleins, also known as Gene Kleins. 544, infielder, Jack Heidemann. 545, shortstop, Bud Harrelson. 546, catcher, John Stearns. 547, first baseman and outfielder, number 28 for the New York Mets, John Milner. Milner. 548, pitcher Bob Apodaca. Went on to have a great coaching career, I believe. 549, pitcher Skip Lockwood Jr. 550, relief pitcher Ken Sanders. And there's orange on the checklist. We're looking for 551, George Thomas Seaver. And we got him! George Seaver, Hall of Famer, joining Joe Torre, Frank Robinson, and many others as Hall of Famers we brought home in this set. Again, we've got our common off-center issues with that left border there. Little bit top border as well. But Tom Seaver, fantastic pitcher. We got him, Hall of Famer, All-Star that year, I believe. Didn't lead the league in anything, but he had plenty of other seasons where he did. In fact, if we look at the back, I'm sure there's lots of accomplishments here. Tom had another remarkable season in 75, winning 22 and only losing 9. 22-9 and didn't lead the league. I believe the league leaders were at 23, right? Yep. Jim Palmer and Catfish Hunter each had 23. Finishing third in the NL with a 2.38 ERA, set a major league record, becoming the only pitcher to strike out 200 or more men for 8 straight seasons. Joined the Mets in 67 after 1 year in the minors, recording a 16-13 record and a neat 2.76 ERA for the 9th place club. He won 25 and lost only 7, winning the Cy Young Award in 69. So again, we've got the accolades to back up a Hall of Fame, great hobby player. And also took the award in 73, so 2-time Cy Young Award winner, as he led the Mets to the NL Championship. A remarkably consistent pitcher, he has a career mark of 168 wins to 96 losses, a 636 winning percentage. To go along with a 2.46 ERA, became a sportscaster over the winter, broadcasting for CBS and WCBS TV in New York. Well, that's interesting. I didn't see Tom Seaver on the retiring list. Did he become a broadcaster and still play? I don't know how that would happen. Interesting. I'll have to look that up a little bit more to understand how long he played. All right. Moving on. We got more Mets to cover. We got 552 relief pitcher Ricky Baldwin. 553 pitcher John Matlack, All-Star. And I believe he was the co-MVP of the All-Star game. Yep, John Matlack. I believe he was the winning pitcher for the All-Star game that year. 554, pitcher Henry Webb. 555, pitcher Randall Tate. Card 556, pitcher Tom Hall. 557, pitcher George Stone Jr. 557, pitcher Craig Swan. 559, relief pitcher Gerald Cram. 560, infielder Roy Stager. And we are headed to the final list of my final page, my checklist. We're going to kick that off with card 561, relief pitcher Kenton Tekulve. It's an interesting name. 562, pitcher Jerry Rios. He was an all-star that year as well. 563, pitcher John Candelaria. He had a pretty nice career as well. 564, pitcher Larry Demery. 565, relief pitcher David Giusti Jr. 566, pitcher James Rooker. 567, relief pitcher Ramon Gonzalez Hernandez. 568, pitcher Bruce Kisson. 569, pitcher Ken Brett. We got a few more. Oh, you know what we did? I think we transitioned into the Pittsburgh Pirates without doing a full transition. That's right. We finished off our New York Mets. We are now with the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Buccos, if you will. There we go. All right. So we're on card 570. Pitcher Bob Moose Jr. 571. Catcher Manny Sanguillen, All-Star. 572. Outfielder. Oh, gosh. This guy. So the Pirates in the late 70s turned into like the We Are Family Pirates, and were a lot of fun to watch. And this guy had a lot to do with it. Outfielder Dave Parker, heck of a hitter there. And then we've got some orange in my checklist. We are looking for number 573, Willie Pops Stargell. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that is Pops right there. I'm going to have to check the back to make sure. But before we do that, how's this card looking? How is it looking? Little bit of the left to right centering issue again, and a lot of centering issues between the top and the bottom. So we'll see what we can do with this card. It is, in fact, card 573, Wilver Dornell Stargell. Pops, Willie Stargell. 14th year with the Buccaneers. Hit .295 with 32 doubles, 22 homers, and 90 RBI. And he was nearing the 400 homer mark as he sat at 368. Very nice. Willie Stargell, Hall of Famer. Moving on to card number 574, outfielder. It is Richie Zisk. Card 575, infielder, outfielder, Ronaldo Stinnett. 576, outfielder, Albert Oliver Jr. Card 577, outfielder, first baseman, William Henry Robinson Jr., also known as Bob. No, my mistake. Also known as Bill Robinson Jr. 578 is first baseman Robert Eugene Robertson, known as Bob Robertson. 579, third baseman, Pittsburgh Pirates number 3, Richard Joseph Hebner. Look at another big chaw on the cheek there. Just don't see that anymore. And that's, honestly, that's a good thing. And I had a period in my life where I was all about dipping, fresh out of high school. Really, it started during my senior year of high school, carried over about a year, and I said, I had enough of that. That's really not what I want to do. 580, outfielder and first baseman, also played some catcher, Ed Kirkpatrick. 581, catcher, Duffy Dyer. And our last Pittsburgh Pirate of the day, 582, shortstop, Craig Reynolds. Nice representation of the Pittsburgh Pirates there. It's interesting, not as thick a list as some of the other teams. Well, come to think of it, looks like I got 4 more Pirates left. I left a few off the table. Let's bring them in. 583, shortstop, Frank Tavares. 584, infielder, Larry Randolph. Willie Randolph, everybody. He went on to, I think, have more success with the Yankees as well. 585, third baseman, Art Howe. Solid baseball player there, and Art Howe as well. I think he went on to manage later on as well. And now our true last Pittsburgh Pirates card, manager Dan Murtaugh. All right, now we can close the book on our Pirates. What do we got coming up here? Right on the top of the stack, I see an Oakland A's, but we finished them off before, so a little bit out of sequence here. We've got card 587, outfielder, infielder for the Oakland A's. We've got Rich McKinney. We've got an LA Dodger, third baseman, outfielder, and first baseman. We've got Jim Goodson. Must have had a couple late entries into the printing process to have them so far out of sequence. But hey, we'll take them, right? Jim here actually goes by Ed. James Edward Goodson, better known as Ed Goodson. All right, next up. So that is a point in the set where they broke it up and they included some checklists. And personally, I think that is kind of cool because it leads to another mystery of, hey, why did we add more players after the checklist? Well, it's kind of like Topps Update today, right? It's like an update to the base set, comes later in the year. They must have done something similar on that. So here is 589, card 589. It is the checklist from 1 to 90. And it also has what it said in the mailing. Subscribe to Collectors Quarterly, 102 Ringgold Street, Peekskill, New York, 10566. Full color card insert, stories, photos, articles, puzzles, ads. $4 a year, $1.50 an issue. Not a bad deal. Of course, that is no longer applicable today. You can't mail that in and get that, but nice little piece of history there. But what I really want to do is flip this card over and tell you that we have a Hall of Famer. That's right. Not only a Hall of Famer, but we've got a mean mug from one George Brett. That is an amazing card from George Brett. I would buy that any day of the week if I saw it. George Brett and Al Cowens. George mean mugging for the camera. A combo card. Sweet, sweet, sweet checklist. Of course, our checklist in itself is pretty valuable because it's unmarked. That would be a win all on its own. But to get Hall of Famer George Brett as well, that is amazing. That is totally amazing. But you know what? It's not the only amazing checklist because I've got another one here, card 590. This covers cards 91 to 180. Again, you have the Collectors Quarterly ad on there. But look who's on this one. Keith Hernandez and Lou Brock. 1975 is Keith Hernandez's rookie year. Keith Hernandez, is he a Hall of Famer? I don't think Keith Hernandez is a Hall of Famer, but his buddy with him here, Lou Brock, certainly is. So we've got another Hall of Famer card. Yes, we're doubling up on Lou Brock, but I don't care. A Lou Brock card is a Lou Brock card, right? And Keith Hernandez rookie card, that is impressive as well. Look at the condition of it. Looks pretty good. Off-centered a little bit, top to bottom. But no condition issues with that whatsoever. Then we have another checklist card. This one takes us from 181 to 270. Again, unmarked, which is ideal. Let me flip this one over. And this one, another horizontal. We've got another Hall of Famer. We got Jerry Koosman and Duke Snider. We had Duke earlier, and we talked about him being a Hall of Famer. So here he is coaching with the Expos again, talking with Jerry Koosman of the Mets. So we got an extra Hall of Fame card out of this checklist. Can't knock it. I mean, why can't every checklist be a Hall of Fame player in their active days? Yes, it's as a manager, I get it, but that is pretty darn cool. He's still on the field every day when this card was taken. We've got another checklist here, 592. This covers cards 271 to 360. And on this one, we have Maury Wills and John Knox. Pretty cool image of Maury Wills there. Clearly, he's no longer playing. He's in an overcoat out there. And he's with Johnny Knox of the Detroit Tigers. Then we have card 593. 593. And there are actually two versions of this card. That is Catfish Hunter and Nolan Ryan. And one of them has, I think, Nolan Ryan's name spelled wrong. But as I put this card down, I see we jumped to 451. And it is not Nolan Ryan and Catfish Hunter. This is 594. However, another card of Hall of Famers. We've got Carl Erskine, Ralph Branca, and Pee Wee Reese, everybody. The threesome for the Dodgers. So we missed out again on Nolan Ryan, but we did get Pee Wee Reese, and we got a Hall of Fame card. We got another unmarked check list. So all in all, I mean, I'm still really happy with that, right? And then one more checklist card, 595, covers 541 to 630, covers the rest of the set. And you can see all the checklist cards we're going through there are called out as well. This one has Hall of Famer Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid, along with Herb Score. Willie Mays in his Mets uniform. I believe he is coaching in these days. I don't think he's playing yet. But pretty darn cool to have an actual Willie Mays card from a year when he is active in the game of baseball. So another Hall of Famer, Willie Mays, on that checklist card. So no slouches there for sure, I'm going to switch these out, and we've got a few more individual player cards coming up. Our stack is just about done. We're on card 596 out of 360. We've got Minnesota Twins catcher Larry Cox right here. We've got Montreal Expos manager who went on to the... You know what? Hold on a second. Let's go back to this Larry Cox. I believe that's a Toledo Mud Hens jersey. He's got his minor league jersey on there. That's another one of those unique images. Let's see. Did he get called up? The Twins acquired the veteran minor leaguer from the Phillies following the close of the 75 season in exchange for shortstop Sergio Ferrer. Larry split 75 between the Phils and Toledo, batting 125 and 80 at bats for the Mud Hens and hitting 211 contests in the NL. He's been a pro player since 1966, has held several shots with the Phillies, but has not yet got to play a full season in the majors. He got his first try in NL in 1973, getting into one contest, and then spent 30 games with the Phils in 74. Hats off to you, Larry Cox. If at first you don't succeed, try again. You still made it further in baseball than I ever did. Very cool player image in the Mud Hens, Toledo Mud Hens jersey. One of the great things about this set, some of these different images. All right, now let's go back to 597. We've got a manager card. The image is with the Montreal Expos. The card back says Minnesota Twins. So in 76, he switched teams. Must have been fired at the end of 75. We've got Eugene William Mock. Gene Mock was what he went by. Then we've got another Toledo Mud Hens player that was called up for the Phillies. Pitcher Melvin Thomason. Now, something's off here because my checklist shows a little different. That's card 600. Did I get a little out of order here? I got to check on some cards. 630, 620, 608, 599, 598. Yeah, we got out of order here. Technical difficulties. Bear with me. We had 3 cards out of order. All right, let's back it up. Strike that, reverse it, and then let's start over. Card 598, San Diego Padres coach Whitey Weitelman. There he is, folks. Card 599, Phillies pitcher Wayne Simpson in that Toledo Mud Hens jersey. So another late call up. Now we're back to 600. Now we've got Mel Thomason, pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, called up from the Toledo Mud Hens. This is definitely like a Topps traded or a Topps update type of addition to the set. We've got card 601, catcher and outfielder, California Angels, Ike Hampton. He is in a minor league jersey as well. The Tides, I don't know who the Tides are. I would have to look that up. 602, relief pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, Ken Crosby. Card 603, coach of the Minnesota Twins, Ralph Rowe. 604, outfielder, Chicago Cubs, James Vernon Tyrone. He's got 3 first names if he wants them. 605, Chicago Cubs infielder, Mike Kelleher. Looks like he came over from the St. Louis Cardinals. Shortstop for the Pittsburgh Pirates, card number 606, Mario Mendoza. I'll have to check. If you're a baseball fan, you're probably familiar with the Mendoza line. Is this the Mendoza? Is it Mario Mendoza? I feel like it is, but I'm not 100% sure. Card 607 coming up. We've got outfielder for the Philadelphia Phillies, Mike Rogodzinski. Card 608, outfielder, first baseman for the New York Mets, Bob Gallagher. Card 609, pitcher for the New York Mets, Jerry Koosman. Card 610, manager for the New York Mets, we've got Joe Frazier. And he is in a Tides uni as well. Look at that. We got 2 players in Tides jerseys. 611 is Montreal Expos manager, Carl Kuehl. Carl Kuehl? K-U-E-H-L. Cool, I think. Carl Kuehl. 612 is Atlanta Braves pitcher, Frank LaCourte. Rocking those cool old school Braves jerseys. 613 is Detroit Tigers pitcher, Ray Bear. 614 is California Angels pitching coach, Billy Muffet. 615 is Detroit Tigers pitcher, Bill Laxton. And then we've got some orange on our checklist. Looks like the last orange in our checklist. We are looking for a coach card, number 616, Willie Mays. And that looks like the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays right there. We saw him earlier on that combo card with the checklist. Willie Howard Mays, card number 616, number 24 for the Mets, coaching them, 5'10 and a half. I don't know how much his weight was. It looks like the weight missed out. Born in 1931, bats right, throws right. He retired after the 1973 season, and he served as the Mets batting instructor for both the minor league system and the big league club. Hall of Famer Willie Mays, active in his coaching days. Sweet card. Looks like we've got top to bottom, off center, right and left a little bit as well. Still great condition for that card. If all you can knock is the centering, I'll take it. All right, we've concluded our Hall of Famers. Let's finish out the last, looks like I got 12, 15 cards here. Let's finish them up. Card 617, we've got New York Mets batting instructor, It is Phil Cavaretta. Card 618, we've got Cincinnati Reds coach Ted Kluszewski firing up the big red machine there. 619, we've got New York Yankees coach Elston Howard. Card 620, we've got Milwaukee Brewers manager Alexander Grammas. Looks like he came over from the Cincinnati Reds at the end of the 75 season. Card 621, we've got the Dodgers batting instructor, Mickey Vernon, for you. Coach for the San Diego Padres, card 622, Dick Sisler. 623, we've got coach for the Cleveland Indians, Harvey Haddix Jr. Card 624, coach for the Oakland A's, Bobby Winkles. 625, coach for the Boston Red Sox. You Boston Red Sox diehards are going to know this name. He's got a pole named after him in Fenway, John Michael Pesky. That's right, Pesky's poles. Namesake right here, John Pesky. Off-centered quite a bit here on this one, but everything else looks good on it. Nice card. I'm sure there will be buyers interested in that. 626, San Diego Padres coach Jim Davenport. 627, relief pitcher for the Padres, David Tomlin. We're down to our last three cards here. 628, San Diego Padres coach Roger Craig. 629, San Francisco Giants coach John Amalfitano. Look at that. He is very happy at what he does. And that brings us to our last card of our 1976 SSPC Baseball 630 card set. We have coach of the California Angels. We have James Reese. That's right. Jimmy Reese right there. So what do you think? We made it through it all. I appreciate you all hanging out with me today to go through this. I am not that deep into vintage cards. This was really my first true experience with vintage cards. And when I saw this set, I was like, the condition alone tells me I have to check that out. So I grabbed it. I'm pretty pleased with it, to be honest with you. I may be totally wrong. Maybe you vintage collectors out there are going to tell me you have no idea what you got. You got a bunch of garbage there. Those same collectors will probably be like, I'll give you $20 for the whole set. So I am ecstatic actually to go through that with you. That was a lot of fun for me and for Stu. We had a good time. Appreciate you all joining me to go through that. I don't get vintage cards a lot. It's something that I'm trying to expand into, learn more about, take a few more opportunities to get some. But this was, kind of a special private sale. I had a chance to get something out of someone's storage. This couple's son has moved away. I think he lives in England now. So they were in some bins, just like I started. When I started selling cards, I had bins and bins of cards up in the attic in good shape. And I said, I need something to do with these because I'm not really collecting anymore. So same situation here. We had bins of cards. I got a number of other things as well, but I think these SSPC cards from that set were probably the most exciting. The other things I got are some nice things that I will definitely be able to sell in my store. But I wanted to share with everybody this vintage set because I know vintage sets are, you don't see them every day, especially at card shows, right? At least I don't. Card shows I go to, I see a lot of boxes of mixed vintage cards. Sure, I'm if I look hard enough, maybe I'll find some of these at a card show. I won't typically see them all in a set together. Unfortunate, we had someone pick through before we got to it and take out some of the Hall of Famers. But what did we have? We said there's 50 Hall of Famers in here. I'm going to throw out a number and say I think we got at least 40 of them. Maybe at worst 35. Well over half. Definitely over half. I think closer to 3/4 of all the Hall of Famers were still in this set. So that is a big win for me. So I hope you like it. If you do, make sure you smash that like button. If it's your first time here and you enjoyed what we had for you today, go ahead and subscribe so you can get a notification when we have new content. I'll share this again if I get an opportunity. And until then, peace out. Take care of each other.